Hey y'all. Make sure you're liking the video on your way in. Like the video, like the video, like the video. What is going on, you guys? You said he blamed her for being a cheat. These men will really turn you crazy if you don't be careful. I believe it. Hey, Monique, round two. Yes, this is round two, y'all. Get up in here, like the video, trigger the algorithm. We about to go live. Well, we are live, right? Hey, y'all. Don't I look smart? my my analyst glasses so I can, figure it out. Figure it out. Okay. How y'all doing? What's going on? Y'all, today I really be my husband be trying me. He be trying you. These men be trying. What's going on? Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. I can't do it. I see too much of a glare. Too much of a glare is bothering me. These are like those UV glasses that help you so you don't like get headaches when you're looking at the screen for too long and stuff like that. So I got a bunch of these a while ago, so I could go ahead and not catch headaches looking at these daggone screens all day. I need to wear more. His wife should have stayed. Beyonce stayed with Jay-Z. Hillary stayed with Bill. Jackie O stayed with JFK. And his mistress popped out a cake in front of her. My mama stayed with my dad, etc. Who said all of that? Shoot. I'm not going with that logic. I'm not going with that logic at all. All right, y'all. So I looked at part 2. It's an hour and 33 minutes. So get your snacks, get your water, get your drink, get your smoke, get whatever it is you do. Okay, I wish I could have a drink. Oh, God, I cannot wait. I got 3 months in a week. 3 months in a week, and then y'all, I'm getting toasted. When I say toasted, your girl's gonna be drunk somewhere, okay? If they let me bring the alcohol to the hospital, it would be in the bag, okay? But y'all go ahead and get yourselves together because we're definitely about to get some things. Make sure you are liking the video if this is your first time here. Hey, what's going on, y'all? All my members, all my subscribers, what's going on? Let's get into the things of the things. So we don't have that much time to waste, so let's just start now, okay? Like I said yesterday, this video is for, what's this video for? Oh, commentary purposes only, y'all. Baby brain is really starting to kick in with me, okay? This video is for commentary purposes only, so we will be stopping in between the video to talk about what's going on. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not sure how much stopping we're going to be doing, but when the thoughts come to me, we will stop and get into it, okay? All right, y'all. Let me go ahead and make this full screen.
Yeah, I'm glad to know that you ain't gonna bite my head off. I was a little bit nervous.
Do you feel like did you come in here with a little bit of guards up? You made a comment. You was like, "Hey, you thought that I had DM'd you prior, like a few years." We say what year?
2014.
2014. I said that was my boy Bashay.
Okay.
Shout out to Bashay Williams. You said it reached out to you about using Dear Future Wife.
Yeah.
And you said that at that time you was a hothead, and you was like, "What?
Man, forget you. Forget you." Praise the Lord.
He said, "I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do."
Man, look, I've been doing it, so you ain't gonna tell me now.
Yeah.
I ain't know what you was on, man, but I appreciate you, darling. It's like, this is a really good conversation.
Yeah, that was Bashay that sent that to you, but shout out to him. He actually talked about on my previous episodes. He actually gifted me with trademark for Dear Future Wife.
That's real.
So shout out to that brother. So we're at the point in the conversation where you were contemplating calling off the marriage. What happened for you to decide to go forward with the engagement?
I just felt like it was too much pressure. It was like we're getting close to the wedding. Of course, the stress of that. I think she was still pregnant. She was pregnant now with my baby boy, Derrick Jr. And I'm like, it's so much on the line. And then on top of that, I'm doing my thing in my career. So we had sat down maybe a little bit before this and mapped out a plan. Well, I mapped out a plan with her because most of the stuff that I had done from the first book to the initial, whatever, was in my single stages. So this is the first time we going into this chapter together. And I'm like, I got you by my side. This is what the play is. We're going to do this, this, and this. And then in the next couple of years, we're going to be able to just be philanthropists and be multimillionaires and whatever. So at this point, I'm making multi-millions in my 20s. So she already know what's up. So I didn't want to abandon ship.
You was making multi-millions?
Yeah. In my 20s, I was making multi-millions. Glory to God. But
so that was the stuff you were doing, relationship and other businesses.
Businesses. I had other businesses out. I
still have balling out of control in your 20s.
I wouldn't say balling out of control.
You was balling. You had millions of dollars.
Well, the thing about business, man, even when you got millions of dollars, there's IRS, there's expenses. You know, if I placed an order so one of my products was a date night card game. One order might be $250,000 in order to get the warehouse right. And then you got trucks, you got, warehouse, you got payroll, $70,000 a month. But the biggest thing was...
Hold on, you ain't gonna just throw these numbers. Your payroll was $70,000 a month?
Yeah, man, at its height. It fluctuated depending on who I had on. But if I had a marketing director or whatever, it was, about $70,000 a month.
So you was running this like a for real legit business.
It was a for real legit business.
Yeah, you wasn't just sitting up here saying, I'm doing this like a little mom and pop stuff, just doing, you had, like you said, warehouses.
Yeah, man. Yeah, infrastructure. But I still had to work to make money. And so for me, I was like, I want to be home. I want to be home with my babies, but the first couple years as they're infants and toddlers and we sitting there game planning, I'm like.
Okay, y'all. So I'm going to stop right there real quick. Okay, because y'all know that man did not want to be home. Because if he wanted to be home, he would have been home. Okay. But instead, he had a condo where he was, recording all his content, but yet still most of his content was inside of a car. Okay. I don't really know what he was on over here on YouTube, if he was like doing lives and whatnot. But yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out why he act like, he couldn't be home. Well, I need to know what kind of all these jobs this man had to be making multi-million dollars. Okay. He said he had a book. Child, Danae knew what she was doing. That's why she stayed around. She stayed around because, you love him and he paying all your bills and seem to be doing well. That is his advertisement for me. You cut it out. Yeah, he owes back taxes a bunch. But y'all go ahead, welcome in, like the video. Let's get back into this.
Like, it's going to look like this, and this. I'm going to have to grind. I'm putting some stuff together so we can have residual money. And then with that, we had this whole plan, basically multiple homes, mama's coming down and moving. And I was like, I don't want to abandon ship from all of that. And then of course the pressure and so on. But man, we were breaking down toward the end, man, even in the engagement.
And then what made you press forward?
Exactly what I said. The pressure, the plan, like, don't give up on it. Like,
this sounds crazy to me because you proposed to her, right? He proposed to her. He told her, this is what we want to do. This is how things are going to go. And he proposed to her because she was helping him with his business. He had no problem with giving her all these babies, back to back, whatever the case may be. But your relationship is falling apart. I can never understand how people could get married when your relationship is literally falling apart right now. Like, you feel pressure, but sir, you the one who said, hey, I'm going to marry her. See, what he didn't say was that, Danae was on her way out the door. Remember when Danae was talking, Danae was telling us, she said, she had packed up her stuff. She had told him, like, I can't do this anymore. So we're going to go ahead and, I don't want to be married. I don't want to be in this relationship. You can't commit, all that stuff. She had moved. Remember, she was moving on. She told his mother that. So then all of a sudden, he just comes out like he just made this plan to marry her. Why? Like, no, tell the truth. You wanted to marry her. Either you married her because you didn't want to lose her, Because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you married her because she was helping you with your business, and you know that she was an asset more so than a lover. Talking about something you gotta listen to Derrick Jaxn. It's like he always missing something. Like the pieces of the puzzle don't make sense. Because when she said he proposed to her, it's because he was ready to leave. I mean, she was ready to leave. Now, one time did he say that she was ready to leave him? He make it seem like the marriage, like the relationship was like, you know, it was just rocky. It was just rocky. Why was it rocky, Derrick? Why was it rocky? That's the question.
Somehow, some way, we still got to make this work.
And then how'd you recalibrate and say, let's get married?
Honestly, we just went through with the wedding. You kind of riding that high. Her uncles came down. Unfortunately, her dad had passed, so he wasn't there, but that male presence was there on her end. A little bit before that, I had talked to her.
Oh, and did he say that did he say that he had cheated on her while they were still planning his wedding? Nope. He ain't say none of that. Okay.
Me and her mom didn't have the greatest relationship, but she gave me a blessing to marry her daughter. So all of this stuff just felt like it was coming full circle. So on the wedding day, my mama there, my uncle, everybody on both our sides of the family is there. It's beautiful. And it's like, all right, maybe now we can kind of wash away some of the stress that was going into here of planning the wedding and all that and get back to the plan. We're gonna save the world, and we also gonna break generational curses, and we're gonna raise up these beautiful children.
And what happened?
Not that. It was about a good week or two of us having a honeymoon phase, a honeymoon break. But again, I was still, just my experience was, okay, I clearly haven't been perfect. Actually, in the engagement, it was after the counseling session. I went and had lunch with a girl. And that's when I got kind of shook, like, man, you can't go back. You can't go back. And I didn't sleep with her, but I that was cheating. That was totally, wrong or what have you.
So you had lunch. You didn't get a hand job.
No, nothing. But we had texted and stuff. So I had an inappropriate conversations and stuff like that.
Was it somebody you messed around with in the past?
No, never messed around with her before. But it was a girl I was clearly attracted to, and I knew better than to go and even have lunch with her. And I went, sneaking around and stuff. So
did you have plans to smash? Keep it 100.
No, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm trying to think back, but you're talking about 2017, 6 years ago. I absolutely would have if we got into the same vicinity. But at that point, I was just in my feelings. It
sounds like a lot to me, sir, because didn't he say he went and had lunch with her? Didn't he say she was clearly attracted to her? Didn't he just say he probably would have if they was in the same vicinity? Sir, you said you had no business going to lunch with her. Like, just go ahead and say you smashed. Now you can't remember. I remember everybody I had sex with. It's a lie if they say you don't. It's a lie. So I said, I can't remember. It was years ago. Sir, please cut it out. If you want to tell your side, tell your complete side. This is what I mean by he leave parts out. This is when Danae probably was saying that he was cheating on her. All he did was have inappropriate text messages, as if that's any better. But okay, sir, I'll let you finish explaining.
Feelings and like, man, I just need to get away, be around a female, whatever. But that was in like mid 2017. So cut all that off. Going forward, I may have had conversations with girls at most, but like the worst thing about me is I was still maybe a flirt, maybe responding to something like that. But now that we married, okay, there's no chicks.
Maybe responding, maybe flirting. No, it is what it is. This is what I mean by accountability. You know what you were doing, Derrick. Cut it out. Stop with the, maybe I was flirting. Maybe I was being inappropriate. Maybe, I was having a conversation. No, you were. Not maybe I did. You can remember what year down to 2017, but you don't remember if you had sex with her? Boy, bye. Yeah, his body language is definitely betraying his mouth.
So whatever, we focus, we got this plan, it's 2018, and we're still having a ton of disconnect. We would come together for a little bit and we would be intimate, we would be friends, but we're disconnecting a lot. And this is going into the birth of our son. So again, I'm thinking pregnancy emotions, it's always something. But then on my end, I'm just wearing thin. It's been a year-long engagement, which was, really tough for us both, I'm sure. I know something is wrong. I know I ain't doing everything perfect. but I'm trying. At this point now, I'm just I'm opening up the doors on everything financially. I'm talking about new Range Rover, new this, new that. Then I'm still rubbing feet. I'm still asking how her day was, trying to be emotionally connected, trips out the country, just whatever. Because I'm thinking maybe she doesn't feel invested in, or maybe she don't feel soft life enough. So it would happen for a little bit where we good, and then we would kind of disconnect again. And then baby boy is born. And then now we kind of riding the high of that. So it was a lot of volatile ups and downs.
He pulling on y'all strings with this, okay? Oh, I was, still rubbing her feet, lying. I don't believe Derrick Jaxn was still rubbing nobody's feet. Get out of my face, okay? Then he's like, oh, maybe she doesn't feel soft life enough. Sir, don't be pulling out them trigger words. Don't do it. Excuse me, y'all. Like, oh, I was doing this and I was doing that. You was doing everything you were supposed to do financially. You was not taking care of that girl mentally, emotionally, or anything like that, because you just said it. He just said that she was pregnant, the pregnancy hormones. And I'm like, here we go again, and da-da-da-da-da. It's always something. Yeah, it's always something because you're not there. That's the issue. Danae made it very clear that you wasn't there most of the time.
To go through the whole year. And now her mom's friend, who claims to be like a prophet, we go and meet with her. And this started the kind of, I call it honestly, a little bit too far, the super religious thing that started happening. And the prophet friend of her mom was like, y'all gonna have a lot to go through and y'all going this, that, and the other. And then she started speaking and I ain't like that. And we kind of clashed about that because it's connected to her mom. But this is the first year of the marriage where it's like, man, now we're really, really falling apart.
She said, y'all gonna go through a lot of stuff?
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, it's almost like the Zodiacs that be like, yeah, today you're gonna blink. Like this, yeah, it's life. We're gonna go through life. You know what I'm saying?
Today you're gonna blink.
I just was weirded out by the whole, I didn't understand at that time prophecy, and I believe in it now. I've met totally legitimate.
So when you look back on it, was she right or wrong?
Yeah, she was bad about that. Yeah, she was absolutely right. We went through all kind of stuff. Absolutely. But for me, it was just a weird dynamic to introduce.
Early on in your marriage, like
yeah,
setting up for doom at the beginning.
And then it started the whole, what God told me and God said, and I'm like, you're my wife, not my pastor.
Oh, she started saying that to you from that relationship?
Yes. And then they formed a little 4-person church, which I had a different name for it at the time.
What name you call that? Cult? 4-person? A cult. So she was going to this 4-person church. Now she began to prophesy over you. What prophecy?
It didn't get super heavy on that until 2019, the actual prophesying and reading prayers off a piece of paper and stuff like that. But it was 2018. This is when I got the haircut by the girl that I used to deal with whenever we were single. Now, I'm thinking it's okay, and I hope she don't feel no kind of way about me saying this, but we got to be real. At this point, I honestly thought she had transformed, like transgendered over. She wasn't as the same person, okay? Like definitely homeboy. Looking at
the one that cut your hair.
The one that cut my hair.
Okay, all right.
So when I couldn't get people to cut my hair, and this became a big deal. This was like one of the major fallouts before we really started to just plummet. The girl that posted me, I was at her barbershop, but she posted me and put hearts on it or something like that. But at this point, hope she don't get offended. She looked like a boy. And I saw that she looked like a boy. I'm like, oh, it's all good now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? People, this is a new age. She a man. She living her.
First of all, anybody seen this picture? Did anybody see the picture of him with the girl that looked like a boy? Because I want to know what is. I need to see it for myself before I believe him. Because if she really looked like she was transgender or she was, trying to, cross over to the other side or whatever the case may be, I really want to know why would Danae be mad? Because it seems like I need to see this picture. If anybody come across a picture, send it to me. Because I'm just curious to know if she really looked like a man. A low cut doesn't mean she was trans. It doesn't. That's why I'm trying to figure out how did he assume that she was trans? And if she was trans, like, I'm sure his wife wouldn't be upset. She was transitioning. And he felt like it was okay to go see her because she was okay. Right, Derrick, child. This is wild. That's wild to me.
His truth, what have you. Nope. Danae found out about it by seeing a story. Danae is one of them passionate people both ways. And it's a beauty when it's a beauty. But she also knows how to hit you where it hurts. what to say to you, how to say it. So she said some stuff, man. And at this point, I'm like, I'm tapped. Now I'm really tapped.
Did she call you gay?
No, she didn't call me gay.
I thought you said that because of the picture of the girl.
She looked like a street hooper or something like that, man. She just looked like. I mean, I'm not trying to be messed up.
I know, but I'm saying
I'm thinking it's cool. But
what did Naya say that was like hitting below the belt?
She's still calling me an F-boy. She's still saying I'm a cheater. And at this point, I'm not cheating. And so again.
She was hitting below the belt. But what was she saying? She was calling me an F-boy. And she was telling me I'm a cheater. Sir, you are an F-boy. Sir, you are a cheater. I don't understand. I'm not understanding. What part of this doesn't he understand? Like, this is your character. It's like he doesn't understand that he's an F-boy who was cheating. So she was hitting below the belt. Now, I'm not going to lie, because I feel like Danae probably was in that house cursing him the hell out. Okay, she looked like she really get down and dirty. So I feel like she definitely got it in her. But that is just so funny to me. She was hitting below the belt, calling me a cheater and an F-boy.
It's not good enough to do stuff intermittently, because ultimately, even whenever you look like you're doing something, you're making your person relive the same trauma all over again. Me, at that point, I was so heavy into defensiveness. So the moment she called me something, instead of like sitting with that and saying like, what makes you feel like, have you been like all the stuff that we probably know to do now, at that point, I'm just defending myself. Like, man, I can't do nothing right. All you do is mention what I don't do or what I do wrong. And what it look like I'm doing wrong. But I done did it and I listened to all this stuff I've been doing and it ain't nothing.
Yep.
So it started that clash because she feeling unheard, I'm feeling unheard. And this is toward the end of the marriage. And this actually it preceded the first time that I stepped out in the marriage.
Caregiver coach Pat Bailey, how are you doing today?
You know what, Lateris, I'm really not doing as well as I could today.
So he said that this is the first time he about to tell us about the first time he stepped out during his marriage. Okay, I need a timeline because, like, sir, how many months did it take? Because it took you 2 months to start cheating on her originally. So how long did it take you to start cheating on her in your marriage? Which is the worst. It's even worse because, like, after everything y'all been through, and then, you know, trying to work it out and then recommitting yourself to each other, throwing everything in the past, you go ahead and do it again. Like, basically saying F them vows.
As video producers, it's always so difficult to find a podcast.
After?
Is that when she left in 2020 and went back home to her mom?
So yeah, we had I told her I wanted to separate. Like, so I was saying that year just off and on. It might be 4 or 5 months I'll go without doing nothing. And then we still clashing. At this point, I'm in the condo. I think y'all talked about that a little bit.
So you had two residences. You balling out of control. You had this big old mansion, and then you had this condo in downtown Atlanta, right?
Yeah. We always had plans of having multiple homes. So at first it was my warehouse, but it was too busy over there. Then I got like Airbnb. It was like $1,000 a night. So we talked.
Word on the street is, sir, you don't own your homes. That's what word on the street is. Word on the street is that you don't own your homes. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. He had the condo where he took his whole exactly. He is Jezebel spirit. But I would want to know, did y'all catch how he was saying, I would be faithful for like 5 or 6 months. And it's like, that's the issue, Derrick. I don't think Derrick really understands that, like, what monogamy is. Like, you can't choose to be like, okay, well, I was faithful for 5 to 6 months in our relationship for that year. So you should forgive me. When you go ahead and continue the same pattern of behavior, that's wild to me, because it's like, you cheated once and then you never do it again. Makes sense. Okay, like at some point you got to let it go, right? You got to move on. If you want to take them back, you got to move on. But to continue doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, and then be mad at the fact that she think you cheating when that's all you've been doing to her since she known you, every time while she's pregnant, carrying your children. engaged, in marriage. Like, oh, I've been faithful for a month and she's still calling me a cheater. What? Like, that's wild. And he says it as if he's proud to say, like, I was faithful for those 5 or 6 months, remember? Like, what does that mean? It means nothing because you didn't get cheated. Tell me you've been faithful in your marriage and haven't cheated at all. And then I would be like, you know what? I can understand letting go of the past before y'all got married because you really changed. You took your vows serious. But you still doing the same thing.
Talked about having a condo and then what it would look like for her to be okay with that. Clearly, it's probably not going to be.
No.
Yeah, and understandably. But the thing we came up with was that she was going to have a key fob so she can get in whenever she wants, unannounced. And when we had a babysitter, we'll go down there. But that's going to be our first time having a second residence, whatever. So as time went on, when we clashed, though, I started staying at the condo more. Because I was already like, again, we working a plan. I'm a grind. I'm setting this and up. It's going to be residual about this year. And so it was like maybe like 3 or 4 months of coming home when we so disconnected, she would either be asleep by the time I got there, or in the time that I was in the shower, she would jump into bed and go to sleep. She was just, again, this was her way of soothing or whatever, but she didn't really talk, and I'm sitting asking whatever. So I'm coming home to a rejected. I just stopped coming. Now, I wasn't immediately going to go cheat, but I'm like, I would just rather stay at the condo instead of coming home and being reminded that I'm despicable. And that lasted I would say about 7-8 months before I started back tripping out, before I started back, stepping out and stuff.
So what you did, you said, so the first time towards the end of about December of the first year, and then you cheat, then you come back, confess, and then
No, I didn't confess. So that time
you confessed towards when
we really fell out. So
in 2020.
Yeah. So in that time, in 2019, mid 2019, so I started tripping out. I'm like, this is definitely over. I can't do this.
Aaron loves Optimum's fiber internet, saying excellent speed and quality.
First of all, y'all got married what year? 2019?
Beginning of 2018.
Y'all got married beginning of 2018.
January 13th.
So that means the end of 2018, that's when you cheated.
Yep, for the first time.
And then 2019 came around.
2019, it's like, oh, get back on track. Just, bygones, forget about it. Never happened. And then it was about 7-8 months in where we still was having the same type of clashes. And even though I wasn't doing anything, it's like, man, I can't be around her. I can't, I need my peace.
But it wasn't the same. Was it the same woman that you would go back to, or you went back to your old way?
He broke her. And then he blamed her for her reaction to the things that he did. That's basically what I just got from this. When I would come home, she would try to go to sleep when I'm in the shower, or I would come in. She didn't want to talk to me. Oh, so I just end up just staying at the condo. Let me tell you something, sir. You need peace, then you create a peaceful environment and give that woman peace so she could be able to, nurture you and give you that peace. You've been giving this woman hell. You've been giving her hell. You've been consistently cheating on her. She's been consistently finding out about it. Then you go ahead, you stay at the condo for weeks and months and all types of days and hours, complaining that you want to see I want to spend time with my kids, but you're not even helping her with these kids while she's in the house doing all of this. She wants peace too, which is why when you come over there, she go to sleep. You interrupting her peace. You created this environment, and then you want to be mad at her for feeling that type of way. That is crazy to me. Right? He created that toxic environment. Exactly. You sat there, you created this, and you don't even want to take accountability to try to fix it properly. Because in your mind, she's pushing me away. She doesn't want to be bothered. I wouldn't want to sleep with you either, sir. Your pen is constantly in and out of all the females in the city we live in. You want me to sit on it? Absolutely not. You think that's going in my mouth? Absolutely not. I don't know what you're doing out here. And I'm supposed to be happy that you home and you talking about you want some peace when you haven't given me an ounce of peace yet? Child, ain't no way. But you see how he really made it seem as if she's pushing him away for no reason. Oh, I would come there and she would be like, fall asleep and not talk to me. Yeah, if you came home a month later or 3 weeks from the last time I saw you, you think you're supposed to come in the house and get all the hugs and kisses in the world? Absolutely not. Ain't no way you supposed to be able to stay out for days on end and then come home talk about something. I just want some peace. Sir, I'm tearing this whole house up with you in it.
Because I didn't want basically always. So my whole thing, and you know, it's crazy.
You got to say if you had sex with the same person over and over again,
it's going to build up something.
It's going to build up something. So you want to make it where it's multiple people, so it's not so meaningful.
Which is it's wild even thinking about the justifications and exceptions. Like, well, this ain't so bad because I ain't letting them fall in love. It's not a relationship. It's just something physical or whatever. But that's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, that's real.
That's exactly what I was like. And man, don't let it go too far with one. And then you had to mix that. Like, I ain't saying you got to, but I was mixing that in with, all right, man, stop. Just like, all right, I got it off. I got that out of my system.
Just start back over clean.
Get back in. And then we'll go a good couple of weeks, maybe a month or two, and we clash again.
What's interesting is that y'all never completed the counseling sessions that y'all have for premarital counseling, and those same issues didn't do nothing but follow you into the marriage.
Absolutely.
And so now we see the clash of the titans take place in 2020, where she said that she left.
Mm-hmm.
And she left and
did we talk about the fact that she would come to the condo to try to get her rocks off and you didn't want to give it to her? Huh? Did we talk about that? You talking so much about the rejection. But then we talk about the fact that when she would come to the condo trying to, you know, get some of that, you was like, no, what about that? What about that? Is that true? Is that a lie? I mean, what's going on with that?
no notice. You basically come home, your family gone.
Something like that. So what happened was I was like, enough of this cheating stuff. I'm done again. This time I'm going back in. If it don't work, it don't work. This was in like end of December of 2019, actually. I think the January 1st, 2nd, something like that. And I burnt every bridge that I had.
What is looking like burning bridges? What is
burning bridges? Is like, I don't want to continue this any further.
I mean, do you say that to the women?
Yes.
So you have a conversation and say,
I'd send a text. I was sending a text.
All right, you're sending a text?
Yeah.
Hey, I ain't finna mess around with you no more.
I don't want to mislead you. I don't see this going any further. We're done. Don't expect to hear from me, that kind of thing.
And I'm tapping back into my wife, or do you say?
I wouldn't even say that. I think at that time for those messages, I just was saying like, we done. But they knew what it was. They knew I was on the outs. We were estranged. We were in different all these things.
Yeah.
So none of them really gave me too much flack about it at that time. But for me, I'm like, I'm dipping in out of giving myself excuses. So sometimes I do, and sometimes I feel guilty. I feel like the hypocrite I was being. I feel like, man, I'm leading people. I'm preaching and I'm counseling, whatever, but I'm not living it.
Right.
And so I would, the resentment had me feeling like, well, in this situation, it's different because I feel like this. I done rolled out the red carpet. I done been everything she asked me to be and more. And it's been spat on. That's just resentment talking and having you thinking that, it's cool because.
Yeah,
but then,
justified.
But then that truth really hits you at some point when you talking about it and somebody say something like, I'm glad there are men like you in the world.
And then that conviction hit.
Honestly, bro, I ain't even that kind of man in the world.
How did it feel? She said one day she called you out, and this was early on before y'all got married. She said, do you even believe the stuff that you say?
Yeah, this was back in North Carolina.
Right.
I felt like I understood what she was saying, but I was like, why is this the first time you referencing my career? Because, okay, I didn't just talk about don't cheat. A lot of my stuff was about, leave thoughtful gifts, write poems, write love letters, let her know how you feel, all these different efforts, sacrifice, breakfast in bed. These are things I all did. And I was like, why is it that stuff is obsolete? And the only thing that exists to you is the time I've now come up short. That's whenever you ask me about this stuff.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, of course, that is an eraser. If I gave you a car, gave you Birkin bags, if I bought you Chanel shoes and all this type of stuff, but I can't be faithful. She's like, I don't give a damn. You keep all this nonsense. I want you to
Thank you. I'm glad he said it because it's called love bombing. Just because you buy me nice things and you do things for me and you take me here and do this, that, and the other, don't mean it's okay to punch me in the face every Friday. Okay? Just because you know, doing your job as my husband and being a father to your children and, you know, providing for us like you said you would, doesn't mean you get to go cheat on me. So every time, yes, it is a eraser. It's an eraser because if you're consistent with being this man and this husband that you said you was going to be, then there would be no bones to throw at you. There would be no, you know, negative words to call you. It's love bombing. And I really believe that if they didn't have kids together, he would have itched on her real bad. But because that's the mother of his children, that's the main reason why he took care of her the way he did, because she had his children. I don't even think it has anything to do with her personally. I think it has to do with the fact that she has his children. I think if they would have had kids, if they didn't have kids, he would have been like, the hell with her. For real.
What's free is fidelity.
Yeah.
Give me that.
Absolutely. And at that time, I'm not thinking like that.
Of course.
I'm measuring myself not just by I eventually was unfaithful. I'm measuring myself by the times that I went to sleep with her in that bed knowing I wasn't going to get none, and she turning over for 3 months.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it now, understanding. But exactly what you said, sometimes the good ain't worth it, you know, depending on what bad it is.
When did she, and we go back to that, when did she actually tell you that, hey, I had been through this sexual assault early on, a couple of weeks before we met?
This was in Greenville. So I didn't get the full scope for years. I didn't know the timeline. She had just told me first, she told me, okay, it was this person and it was before you that I got raped or what have you. And that was in North Carolina. So that had to be like 5-6 years in. So that was the first time
she said just kind of just said it real quick and just went on about a bit. Well,
it was kind of like in the middle of some type of conversation, some things we hadn't told each other. She revealed that. And I was like, I don't even know how to handle that. I don't think either of us knew just how much it affected her.
Of course.
Or our sexual relationship. Because every time, I think anyway, that we was having sex, I think it kind of re-traumatized her.
Yeah.
Because especially, not to get graphic, the type of, affection I show and the way I move in that bedroom. And then on top of that, the porn saying, this is intimacy.
Yep.
So I didn't know what she was going through in sex, after sex with me. And because of what she had gone through before. And it was always expressing in different ways. But I mean, it was me trying to piece it together like, oh, this is why I get the type of anger and rage that probably was meant for such and such, but is now coming towards me.
That's real. When did she reveal like the next layer of it? You said she give you a piece here. And then when did it finally hit you like, wow, this is connecting the dots of all this?
So after our the separation in February of 2020, when I woke up and the family was gone, I had been asking about seeing the kids and how could we work that out. And she jetted. We went up and down of whether or not we was going to make the marriage work. We was going to try to anyway. And so one of those efforts later on was with a trauma recovery specialist or something like that. I think she mentioned her before, Dr. Smith.
She said she had all kind of counselors and therapists.
Yeah, we went through quite a few, but that was whenever she dealt, because she knew she had the competence to really deal with that.
Right.
And it was, again, permeating. So, of course, what's gotten sensationalized is my part and all the things that I did, but we were dealing with the twofold issues before there was any infidelity. And part of it was how she showed up in conflict.
Now, I'm gonna say this. I do believe that they both had issues that they really needed to work on in their relationship. But even before, like individually, okay, like he had his trauma, she had her trauma and things like that they really should have not been in a relationship to work to be together. But when you say it as if you didn't start cheating on her 2 months in, instead of trying to get to the bottom of why she shuts down, or instead of trying to learn a way to communicate better, or having just talking. When I tell you, me and my husband just talk for like, when I tell you we would just talk about everything, like we would just talk about everything. I mean, consistently, just talking. Good, bad, arguing, fussing, like just everything. And I feel like instead of you going to really try to deep dive and figure out why she shuts down, why you guys are not communicating better, or how you can communicate better, and you just was like, oh, I'm gonna just go cheat, because that was the first thing you did 2 months in. She never had a chance. Do you not understand how hard it is for a woman? Just the concept of being married to a man who doesn't know that you're a SA survivor. You get what I'm saying? How much of a burden is that you feel that uncomfortable with your husband that he doesn't know something so intimate about you? You get what I'm saying? Like, I could not, I couldn't marry my husband and not express that to him if that was something that happened to me, because that's something that's really, really, a big thing. Like, that's trauma. That's a heavy trauma. And she never felt safe with him, because if she felt safe with him, she would have told him. And I honestly feel like he even said like he wouldn't have known what to do with it. But I think he would have tried to use it a little bit against her and been like, oh, this is why, we can't have sex like this. Or this is why she wasn't fulfilling my needs, because, she was dealing with her own. Like, I think he would have low key, in my opinion, use it against her, and to a certain extent. You get what I'm saying? And I just don't understand that, like, how you could be with somebody for all these years, have his kids, do all this with him, and he doesn't find out about this till like 5 years later. That's wild to me. And that's supposed to be your husband. And this is what I mean when people say, I want to marry my best friend. I want to marry my best friend. It's like everybody think that marrying your best friend means it's supposed to be somebody that you outside with, having a good time, you can laugh and have fun with. No, that's not what marrying your best friend. Marrying your best friend is knowing that this person is going to be here, have your back. You can tell them any and everything about yourself. They're going to love you regardless. I feel bad for her. I completely feel bad for her to have to deal with that trauma on her own, because she never felt safe enough to express that to her husband, so that he was going to nurture her and care for her properly in that marriage.
That's when we went in deep, and then the therapist was steady helping me become an ally to her, because I was like, I don't want to traumatize her. Like, this is still a woman I love. I want to make it work and stuff, but how do I help her if I can help her heal? And it meant like certain exercises to get her comfortable with my touch, knowing that I was safe, I was different. So that was it, man. I was saying about the summer, maybe like May of 2020.
Yeah.
To put it all together, it was a couple of months into the separation.
And so when y'all were separated, y'all were still working towards helping the relationship.
Here and there. So, any little argument or whatever could cause her to ghost. There was a couple of times I just, I honestly thought it was over a few times, but I would try to keep in contact with the kids, and she may ghost me for a week or two, and I can't talk to nobody. But most of that we were up until I would say about May or June. And then that was whenever it was like, we're getting divorce lawyers. She's basically letting me know it's over with. I don't care what you do. And yeah.
During that time when she left, did you find that as an opportunity to say, okay, she gone. I don't know what happened to this marriage anyway. Were you like, finna wild out again? I'm single now.
The only time when I started wilding out was when my birthday came in July. Before that, I was just flying up there. I probably
so you tell me during that time she's gone. Now you want to be faithful,
right? So right? No, exactly. Now that she's gone, now I want to prove myself. But the thing was, again, I gave my life to Christ in February, and I was trying my best to walk this straight line. This was before she left, before she knew anything. I was in my truck and I had a conversation with God, like, I got away from you. Earlier in my years, I was with you, and now look at how things have turned out. So now I'm walking a separate walk from her. We walk in this thing for marriage, but I'm personally trying to be aligned. I don't, clearly I'm not good at this, whatever. So in this time, I'm just whatever it takes to close the gap. If she's not wanting to talk to me this week or what have you, let me be with the kids, because they were begging for me, especially Marley. I would hear Marley crying for me, and she would ask me when I'm gonna see you again. Honestly, we all at the mercy of your mama's. I ain't say this, but I was like thinking to myself, we all at the mercy of your mama's anger with me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to soothe her. I was just trying to be close.
I'm here to share with you just a secret weapon that you don't even.
So why wasn't you trying to be close while you was home? When you had your wife and you had your kids at your call, why wasn't you trying to be close then? I can't stand that. You wasn't around all this time, and now all of a sudden you don't have access to the kids the way you used to. Now all of a sudden you want the access? When you had the access, you could care less about it. But it's your mama's fault. It's your mama's fault. I can't just come pop up whenever I want to pop up.
Else on pandemic, I'm flying. I probably spent like $20,000, $30,000 just in that time between flights, Airbnbs, and everything else.
She wouldn't let you come stay with, or no, she was with her mom.
She wouldn't even tell me where. And her mom.
She told me her mama told her not to talk to you, not to.
Her mama was so heavily involved in our marriage, in our restoration. The counselors, the pastors all said, y'all can't make this work if she's involved.
Yeah.
She was in the counseling session with her, like marriage counseling session with her. And I
understand. With y'all?
Yes. When we came back, well, one, she was in the session beforehand. She was in, Danae would have personal sessions with the therapist. And then we got back joint with the same therapist. She said, why is your mother in the same room as your counseling? Do you not have a boundary with your mother? Why is she in there? That was the first time. And then after that, when we was going to reconcile, we came together with our pastor, because we had the same pastor, and we sat down. Her mom came and sat in on our family restoration session or what have you. I understand to a degree though, because she's seen her daughter go through so much. Any parent, I'm sure myself, it would be like, nah, whatever it takes. I don't care what rules I'm breaking. Don't tell me no Bible verses. I'm here to make sure my baby is good. But she was as much as part of the marriage as me and Danae were, probably even more.
Well, you said she's sitting in the counseling. I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
so
yeah. It was kind of crazy.
Was there any type of abuse that would allow her to want to step?
Not there? Abuse, man. No physical abuse. You know, if you consider cheating abuse, and yeah, especially emotional, it definitely caused trauma. But nothing where she was like in danger. Her and her mom, this is just my belief, have a weird relationship. It's more like girlfriends, because they're only like 15 years apart, 16 years apart. But her mother from day one didn't like me. And I think whenever I hurt, Danae is like, oh, see, I was right.
Yeah, confirmation.
She was right. She was absolutely right. You did nothing but hurt her daughter consistently. You did nothing but neglect her daughter consistently. Who else was she supposed to talk to when you was gone for months on end? Who else was she supposed to talk to you when you didn't come home at night? Who else was she supposed to talk to? Now it's her mother's fault. Now because her mother was in a relationship more than you was.
And so that's an all access pass to stay in the relationship no matter what. My belief was, I've done my wrong, but we as adults, we're 30-something years old, we're not children. And we have professionals that are involved.
Right.
We have godly counsel that's involved. And we've both professed our lives to be, you know, Jesus. Like, you know, we Jesus, our Lord and Savior. So this is we going by this construct now. It's time for mom to get some healthy separation.
Which is leaving and cleaving.
Leaving and cleaving. So love on, you know, I'm talking to Danae because honestly, she's the gatekeeper. But to that point, yes, she was with her mom. Her mom would often speak over her while we were on the phone. All kinds of stuff. And then, you know, that's one of those things that I still got to work on my heart. Because
I can say, when I mentioned that, your whole, I said, is he finna cry or he finna get mad?
Well, I tried, man, look, I'm not trying to stir up nothing. Because again, I get her mother's
participation. The reason why
I get
it was to be protective.
But then, you know, and then I was right, you know, and that's the kind of thing that's going on. But to your point, the entire time we're trying to restore, all the way from February, March. Now we done flew over to churches. There's a lot that's going on.
She said that she gave you some homework assignment. She was like, I want to see you get stronger with, you know, build your relationship with God, get some accountability around you. be more present in your kid's life because like most men, they get to working and doing all this type of stuff that she said she wants you to be more intentional on spending time with your kids. And I think there's one other thing. Are those true? Those three things?
To a degree, it wasn't to spend time with the kids. And then we kind of had a little back and forth about that because I love spending time with the kids. If they're ever around us, you'll see they gravitate towards me because I love my kids. And that was the whole plan, is to get back to where we can both be in. But yes, for a time, I'm going to be away from the house most of the day. So I had about an hour or two per day of quality time that I could do. And on the weekends, a little bit more. But what I understood what she was saying, because I don't want to speak for her.
What the heck was he doing where he only had an hour or two a day to spend with his children and a little bit more on the weekends? Like, I'm just trying to figure out what kind of job this man had where he could only spend an hour or two with his children. So if you only got an hour or two for your children, you ain't got nothing left for your wife. No way.
Was her saying, I want you to do some of the things with the kids, like wake them up, get them to school,
pick them up. The daily task.
And we had a little bit of a beef about that. Cause I'm like, hold on.
You work from home. I mean, I guess she was working, but she was a stay-at-home wife, but then she would help you on some back-end stuff. You saying that's your role. You got the time for it. Let me go hunt.
It was a plan. Yeah. And the plan wasn't just that she be because that's a hard job.
Yeah.
2 young kids, 2 under 2. But I had already invested in the private school, $2,500 a month. So 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. She
for some 2-year-olds?
Two. At this point, I think one was just turned 3. Marley just turned 3, and DJ was 1.5 going on 2.
You had some little kids in private school?
In private school. There's a little Goddard school down there because it was too young for pre-K. So it was a daycare, but it was a private school. They had a curriculum and everything else.
So they would go there Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day.
8 hours a day. So what was Danae doing then?
So this was our conversation where we clashed on exactly what all she was doing. Because then we had babysitters. So she had raised some of these issues like, hey, the house is too big to clean. I'm really exhausted with the kids every day. So I already had said, okay, I understand. All I need you to do is tell me. So I made the investment for private school, for the sitter, for the cleaning service to come twice a week. And whenever she had these demands, I'm like, look, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get back in your good graces, whatever. But I also want to be reasonable. If I'm working, paying every bill, you don't have to touch anything, whatever. And that includes the fun stuff and investing in the soft life thing. What are you going to be doing? That's what I asked. Because by this time, she's not working with the.
Did he use the word soft life when he said it? Did he use the word soft life when he said, let me tell y'all about my new soft life, okay? Because y'all know I just started working in February, okay? After 15 years of slaving for the man, okay? I'm invested in my soft life too, okay? But then I just learned about the soft life. He act like he invented the soft life, yeah, and I'm invested in this soft life, everything. Sir, you had no choice. You was giving the woman hell. It didn't look like when she got on that video with you, it did not look like homegirl was in the soft life at all. It did not look like it. It looked like she was going through the trenches. What is, like, I'm trying to figure out what the soft life is because, baby, I don't want that one. That's not the one I want. And all she wanted you to do was take the kids to school sometimes. And you felt like that was just too much to do? Why? Why was it too much to take the kids to school sometimes so she don't have to wake up early every morning?
Company anymore, actually. She wasn't working anymore. She had been said, I want to do my own thing. So I was like, whatever you want to do, I'll invest in. I want to support you. So I'm like, you're not working in the business.
So what did she do? She had a clothing shop or something?
Nothing at all at this point. She had talked about real estate and I paid for whatever it took for that, but she didn't really pursue it. I think at this point, she actually started doing the travel thing with her mom. And so, I helped what I could with that.
What travel thing? Is it a travel agency?
She had a travel agency with her mom. Her mom and her had their own business, what have you. So yeah, that was our clash. And I'm like, I don't think this is helpful and I don't think this is sustainable because I'm not with this. I'm going to pay for everything and but then still get up in the morning, get the kids or whatever. I want to spend time with my children, but not take on responsibilities because at the end of the day, we still got work to do.
Did he just say he want to spend time with his children, but not take on responsibilities? She was a single married woman. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. He didn't want to take on a responsibility. He just wanted to be the fun dad. Oh, dad's around. Let's go outside and play. Okay, and now that we play, bye y'all. I don't want the responsibility of actually having to, give my children baths, feed them, read them story times, making sure they tucked in at night, taking them to the hospitals or to the doctors. I don't need the responsibility. I just want to see my kids when I want to see my kids for like an hour or two, because that's all I got. That's all I got for them. Like, what are you talking about? You didn't want to take this. I didn't want the responsibility. It does not matter if you're paying for anything. Those are your kids. You're just as responsible as she is. Maybe she does have a little bit more time than you, but sir, you was not doing that much. That's what I'm just trying to put my hands on. What the heck he was doing that caused him so much? Because sir, if you're making content, granted, you got this big house. Why you don't have a studio in your house where you could go in there, make a video for a couple of minutes, whatever, edit it on up, put it, post it, and be done. I'm just trying to figure out what he was doing, because his content wasn't like he was making a web series and movies. Was he doing any of that? Like, I'm trying to figure out what spectacular content and stuff was he doing that caused for him to not want to take on responsibility for the kids. He blamed the children for making noise. Let me tell y'all, when I have this baby, if y'all hear the baby in the background, that's on y'all. That's on y'all. No, but in all seriousness, you home all day. When them kids go to sleep, make your little content, put it, post it up, take you a nap, and call it a day. Answer your comments while you're sitting on the couch with your wife. You was doing all this extra activity. You got time to be out here cheating and having conversations and all this other stuff, but you ain't got time for your kids. You don't want the responsibility. I just lost all respect for him. The little bit that he possibly could have had for me, I lost it, because that's where you draw the line. The kids is where you draw the line.
So I forget where we was at with it, but that was what we had. Her list of homework included some things that we didn't necessarily agree on, but I didn't need her to tell me to get closer to. I was trying to pursue God at this point for myself. And I think it helped that she saw a lot of that initiative on my own. Because one of the pastors that she watches on TV, and then I ended up popping up with
That's
him.
what she said. She said she was watching YouTube or watching something. You popped up down there at the altar in the service or something.
Yeah, I didn't leave him alone. Because
she said you was like, I'm finna start following this minister around. That's what you started doing?
Something to that degree. We developed a rapport. So she didn't mention, I didn't watch the whole thing, by the way, so I could be wrong, but there was a space before we separated where she got really infatuated with demons. And she didn't just say, I needed deliverance either. She said, the Lord God is taking over my vessel. You're going to die, go broke, and all these other things.
She said, you are?
Yes. Now, later on, she said, well, I was speaking to the demonic spirit.
In you?
Yes. And this is an interesting dynamic for anybody with their spouse to talk about you speaking to. So anyway, I started looking into it and I realized, oh no, demonic influence is very real.
Right.
But I don't know nothing about it. I grew up in a very traditional church. We didn't talk too much about that. We understand we don't war against flesh, but of course the spirit and all this stuff. But this goes a different level, like demon spirits, the name of this demon, so on. And there was one pastor, she introduced me to him, that knew about this stuff. So I went and found him. And we also had some stuff where she wouldn't let me see the kids because my demons is making them. And I'm like, so why is it everybody else got demons but you? And I would have these conversations like, why everybody else influenced but you? And then we had this fight now where I felt like she asserted herself as my spiritual authority or my superior. She's so pure and angelic and God's first cousin. But then me, I'm just Lucifer's baby boy. I'm getting clarity from this pastor because now I've watched enough of his stuff or whatever.
You trust
met him and he took to me and he was able to tell me some stuff that validated that he was indeed a man of God and whatever. And he took to me and was like, I could see your heart or what have you. And I was like, look, I want to serve you any way I can. I want to be a part of the ministry or what have you. So that's what started. I didn't just follow him. We was talking. He was kind of mentoring me. He became my spiritual father.
And so did anybody else confirm? Was there some deliverance service where maybe that pastor and a couple of other apostles or something linked around you and cast the demon out of you?
They cast, like, I did go up there to the front and I got the deliverance and all that stuff, but it wasn't like necessarily what she was saying. It was when we all discussed it together, because now he's a friend of the marriage. He wants to help us. And when he was like, Danae, you may be seeing some stuff, like a spirit wife or something like that. He's like, that's absolutely true, because he's out here smashing and dashing or whatever.
Right.
But some stuff you're getting, you have to be brought up and taught how to interpret it. So Danae was actually, I think anyway, very well-meaning, because she wanted to protect her family. At one point in time, she was trying to protect me, praying over me. Before we separated, I had woke up one day and she had her hand on me and she was praying over me. So it was like sometimes it came from this pompous place of, throwing the book at me and judgmental and so on. But at times it came from a very nurturing and protective place. So he confirmed we both needed deliverance.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm about to say, I definitely feel like Danae got some issues that need to be worked on when it comes to like that religion stuff. It's definitely giving some type of cult. It's a lot going on with her. So I can understand why that would be alarming to him. It's still mute. Can y'all hear me? So I can understand why that would be alarming to him. But I think that Derrick Jaxn, because let me just tell y'all something. How coincidental is it? Y'all just let me know y'all can hear. Okay. How coincidental is it that you go to church and you get saved and then pictures of you start floating around the internet? It's giving you set this up. As much as I want to be like, yes, give your life to the Lord, start over, be baptized, be that man, do that, good for you. I just feel like it's still something about that seems disingenuous. Like, why did you do, like, how did it just all of a sudden just pop up on the screen for the world to see? I don't know.
And even because of her mom's involvement, that she needed deliverance right along with us in order for everything to come back together.
I really, really like.
What transpired for her to move back from, where was she, in Denver? Where was the family
She
from?
was living in Denver. Mm-hmm.
And what made her transition and say, okay, let's, reconnect with my husband and let's try to make this work and move back to Atlanta?
So that pastor had, this was after my birthday, and I've been wilding out and stuck. I'm like, it's over with. Honestly, felt so empty, man. And I cut everything off before I even knew if I would have a chance with her. But at this point, I had started rebelling against God, because I'm like, God,
July.
This was in July. February 4th, I gave my life to Christ in the truck. And it's like, all right, tomorrow, it was for different reasons. I didn't want to go back home before that, but I was like, tomorrow I'm coming back home, and we're going to make this work. We're going to thug this out the God way.
Yeah.
And that's whenever I came back to she was gone. I was like, the day after I gave my life to Christ, things started going here. And I blamed him.
Mm-hmm.
I went through some rebellion all over again.
It's the fact that he thinks that he can just go do whatever he wants to do. And when he come back, it's all good. Have you not noticed how many times he said, I decided that I wanted to work on the marriage. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Why is it's okay when you're ready to work on this marriage? That's what it feels like. Every time he turns around, he's talking about how, we going to work on this marriage. I'm going to get it right this time. Like, sir, you turned away from the Lord. You can't commit to nobody. And you know what? as someone who's a believer, I feel like that's God's testing you. You said you wanted, you believed him, you was going to walk by faith, you was going to walk by faith and not by sight, this, that, and other. And as soon as God did not give you your wife right away, because you decided all of a sudden I want to be a better man, you turn away from him. And if anybody know anything about religion or anything about, walking in faith and having, a spiritual connection, do you know that God will test you? There's no such thing as a testimony unless you go through a test. You wasn't even strong enough to go through the test after giving your life to the Lord. And then being a child of God that you, or being a church goer from, college and stuff like that, having that foundation, you should have known better. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, you have no sense, like, it's all, this is what I mean by when I say that it's all for show, because there's no way you could go give your life to the Lord, something so serious, and you say that you want to be a better person, you really want to work on yourself, I'm going to go get my family back, and you come home and your family not there, as if you was at this house with these people all this time. Nobody wants to sit in the house that you're not in. And she's supposed to just be sitting there waiting for you with open arms because now you decide that you want to be the husband that you were supposed to be from the very beginning. And somehow that's God's fault. How is that even God's fault? It's everybody's fault except for his own, right? Child, the foolishness of it all.
Man, screw this, F it. So anyway, that was the end of July. I was like empty. I'm like, man, I done rented out yachts and I done did all this money spending and these random girls I'm kicking it with. I don't even know them or like them. So just being real, like I don't even like you, like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, go on somewhere, man. And before she said anything, I again burnt the bridges. I'm so off and on. But August comes around, I think it was August, and my spiritual father was going to have another event. I had stopped kind of being around him for a little bit while I was in that stage. But I was like, I need to go over there.
So that stage was just the month of July?
I would say June into July.
Okay.
Yeah.
So February, she
July.
leaves February, right? February, you give your life to Christ. The next day she leaves. You start trying to get your feet in Christ. You find that once you connect with the spiritual
leader. I went head first into it, man. I made friends with pastors. Willie Moore Jr. I reached out to him as a man of God, and I was like, man, what group are you a part of where y'all stay on the straight and narrow? Yeah. And they didn't know anything about any of this. Yeah. I was pursuing this. I'm like, I don't want to mess this up again, So anyway, what was the question again?
So you started working towards that. And then July, you said what?
Because we were discussing my birthday, and she was like, I'm not seeing you for your birthday. And I was like, abandonment still hurt. Yeah. I ain't healed nothing to do with abandonment wound at this point. So I was like, my birthday? I was like, can I at least see my babies? You know what I'm saying? Can I do that? Well, I'm taking them to a church event. I was so beside myself. So anyway, we definitely knew the relationship is over. We got a child custody agreement in place, all this stuff. I had my rendezvous. Then after that, cut everything off. My spiritual father was going to have an event. She happened to be at the event.
Oh, really?
This was actually down here in Dallas. He was going to have it at the Marriott. He's going to have like a 3-day event or something like that. I was like, I want another chance with my family, but I don't know. It's just too much. But I brought a picture to put it on the altar and pray and everything else. Her mama came with her and brought the kids. And we had not at this point talked in like 2 weeks.
So it was the first time you seen your wife at church with your kids?
In a minute. Yeah, no, we had seen each other throughout the summer, but this time.
No, I'm talking about, you said for 2 weeks.
There was a couple of weeks. We had discussed me seeing the children because I kept trying to just keep some closeness with them. I went up to Denver to see them. And from that point, she ghosted me. She stopped answering. I was up in Denver for like 5 or 6 days. She wouldn't answer or nothing like that. And like a week and a half later, we was at the church event at the same time.
And you looking up like, wow, there go my wife and kids.
I broke down, really seeing the kids. Because I was like, at this point, I'm wanting another chance, but I'm also understanding. And she's kind of beat me up at this.
That man don't care about that woman. He clearly said that he was more so happy to see them kids than her. And, she kind of beat him up a little bit. He don't care about that woman. He don't care about her at all. I don't care how much he tried to convince anybody that she was the one for him. He don't care about that woman at all. Oh, she had beat me up a little bit. And I was just more so happy to see my kids and her. But this is the wife that you want back, right? Actions speak louder than words. And at this point, your words is actually speaking just like your actions.
This point, so I'm like, whatever on that to a degree, but I really, really miss my babies. So they ran into my knees, and I'm like, man, like maybe. And so he had the sermon. Afterwards, he offered to see families that were trying to restore. And that's whenever we had the session. Her mom came in and sat right down with her as we had our family session. And at some point, the pastor said, "Why is mom here?"
And then, so they came visit. You weren't living in the DFW Metroplex at this time.
No. Neither one of us were. But basically, that was the point where we said we're gonna try again. That's whenever in that conversation.
Did her mom co-sign on that at that time?
She just kept listening and nodding along and stuff like that. So I don't know the conversation with her mom, but I guess she did. I don't know.
And then y'all decide to let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
And decide to what? Move to Dallas?
First month is I'm gonna spend up there because she wasn't ready to part from her mom yet. So I got another Airbnb for 30 days.
Dang.
And then we moved down to Dallas together. And we moved to another Airbnb while we found a place. And we started the restoration. And this is where, honestly, bro, the whole thing, this was like one of the most beautiful things that was happening. I could tell some distance happened with her and her mom because I could always tell whenever she was close. She would come, man, I'm talking about, she get a call, come back, and she hates me. Now it's some distance. Now we're starting to reconcile. Now we're talking. We're still going through with the therapy. We crying, we expressing, we forgiving on both ends because everybody know about my sins, but it was some stuff she, you know what I'm saying? So the kids are seeing it, and this is when I wrote a book, Healed Together While Hurting Each Other, but I wrote it based on all the things we were doing. We had a schedule now. So we went through that process. This is toward the end of 2020, I think. Things ain't perfect, but we fighting for it. We in church together. We serving in church together. We praying most of the time together. We doing warfare, all of it. And then comes 2021.
What happened in 2021?
March of 2021. I think it was the 22nd or 23rd. No. Actually, a little bit before that. A month prior, my auntie passed. It was my mama's only sister. And that was really tough for me because she was always the one that was most proud of me outside of my mom. And 2 weeks later, my stepdad passed. And so we went to, at this point, man, I don't take losses well, deaths or nothing. So I'm messed up. And as we were preparing to go there, maybe a week prior, we found out we were pregnant with our third baby. We couldn't even enjoy that because it's so much compounded grief. And she's just like, I got you. I'm here for you, etc. So we go to my dad's wake. And like that evening, there's a girl from the separation time, my birthday time, that's doing an interview. And I'm like, I ain't got time for this. I'm just like, man, I ain't got time for this. I done got beat up fighting for this family. I done got beat up in grief. I done got, the financial piece because I had to work to eat. So I kept payroll and I never kept making money. Because at this point, I'm just all family, all Christian walk. So now my finances are starting to look a little funny. And then this. That night, we kind of put it away. My dad's funeral, my phone is blowing up. I had to put on airplane mode, all this stuff. And I'm like, I got to face them. I got to face them.
Who was the them?
Them being the people that supported me, the public. Because, of course, I hadn't talked about this and and here it is. I knew at some point I would talk about it, but I didn't plan to talk about it until our family was stronger.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Because are we about to start talking about when he got outed? Because, how did we get to, now he got to address the people? Did we miss something? Did I miss something? I got to rewind in 2 seconds, y'all, because I need to make sure that I didn't miss the fact that he never said that this is when he got caught. All he just said was that this one I had to address the people. And he was like, what people? And he like, oh yeah, I had to let them know because my supporters. Sir, what are you talking about? Because how did we get here? We missed something. Okay, so it's not just me. Because y'all, I swear to God, I was sitting here like, what the heck happened? I'm gonna rewind it just a little bit because I really need to make sure I didn't miss something, y'all. Very much something.
My phone is blowing up. I had to put on airplane mode. Okay. My finances are starting to look a little funny. And then this. So that night, we kind of put it away. My dad's funeral, my phone is blowing up. I had to put on airplane mode, all this stuff. And I'm like, I got to face them. I got to face them.
Who was the them?
Them being the people that supported me, the public. Because, you know, of course, I didn't talked about this and da-da-da-da, and here it is. I knew at some point I would talk about it, but I didn't plan to talk about it until our family was stronger. You know?
I would say that's pretty darn impressive that out of all the dirt you did, it took that long for somebody to say something.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with this may have been the first time I cut people off the way she wanted me to cut them off, as opposed to really friendly. And
that's what she also said. She said, cut them off and then get a new phone. That was the other
Not
thing.
only, yeah, it was get a new phone, get a new place, throw out, you know, a whole lot of
move to a whole other
sacrifices.
city, yeah.
You know, $60,000, $70,000 worth of furniture, sculptures, paintings.
No, this was the time that you got outed, because this was the time where people started to realize that you actually had a wife and that you was playing on people's feelings and emotions. And then you had the nerve to go ahead and try to use people for sympathy. Like, oh, me and my wife are going through something. Oh, me and my wife are having a problem. Absolutely no. Because that lady that was on Tasha K giving that interview, okay, when she was saying all the stuff that she was saying, that didn't sound like no man when you was outside her house making videos about the same ish that she was out there doing. So don't sit here like I cut them off the way she wanted me to cut them off. Yeah, no, you actually cut people off this time. You never cut nobody off. Stop sitting here lying and talking about something you cut people off. You didn't cut nobody off. You still had access to every last one of them women.
Clothes.
You talking about do what? Get rid of it?
Throw it away.
I wish I knew you.
Don't sell it. Don't give it away.
Gosh, I wish I knew you.
But
what you talking about? You just throw it away. I know you gave it to some people.
It was one or two things I gave away. Because when my family found out I was going to throw away all this expensive stuff and sculptures and stuff, they was like, no, we're coming up there. But most of it, no. I literally had to show her I was cutting through my custom paintings.
Because she's talking about the spiritual stuff.
She had been hitting me with all of that stuff. But I was
And you really tore that stuff up?
I did.
You talking about your clothes and everything?
It was a show of good faith. Because even though I didn't agree with her, but I was like, you've seen enough actions of me trying to do it my way. And it ended us up in this situation. Last thing I'm going to do is still assert myself as the authority on how this needs to make you comfortable. So if she's saying it's triggering her, I was like, I'll give it up. So
your family came and got some
of my family came up there. It was like, nope, we taking this, we taking that. This was actually, in the separation. So she wasn't there. And they was like, nope, they found out through all this stuff, TVs and everything. Man, so we fast forward to 2020, like again, compounded grief. And then I'm like, I want to face them. At first, she was really, really pissed, but supportive still. She was like, we knew this was going to come. I'm 10 toes. You know what I'm saying? I got you, da-da-da. And then we come.
So hold on. So I get that you really want your marriage to work then, huh? Man. I never would think that. And that's why I said you got to wait. Can't pass judgment on people. I literally assumed that you were stuck in a marriage. You were getting along just to get along, but your heart was really wanting to be in these streets.
Sir, you were absolutely right. That man did not want to be married. That man never wanted to be married. He never wanted to be married. Why are you buying this? Talking about some, you really want to be married, huh? No, nothing he has talked about in part one leading up to this part right now show that he really wanted to be married. Nothing. What, because he cut off some side chicks that he gonna go get some more from? Please miss me with this.
To smash all these women.
No.
You're saying that what I'm getting from you ain't even saying this, but what I'm getting from you is that, no, I really want the marriage to work. It just so happened that I was doing this stuff behind the scenes when I felt neglected and felt this type of stuff. You really want to be married?
Absolutely. I wanted my family. I wanted to be married, but I wanted us to stay cohesive. That was the biggest thing on my mind. Stay in the house.
So answer this real quick. So be married or want your family? Meaning, would it be okay to have this perfect hybrid of a relationship? Hey, Danae.
The homeless problem is getting worse. It's not getting better.
Smash chicks on the side. Can you be okay with that? I'm going to give you this soft life, give you this wonderful life you live in. I love my family. I'm going to be here for my kids. Hey, I love them. I got 3 kids now. This is amazing. But just let me go out here and smash some people from time to time. Would that be the perfect world for you?
No. That'd be hell.
Why?
Because it was hell when I was doing it behind her back. I wasn't happy. I was coping. She actually offered up for me to be with other women. And I think this may have been after she saw something on my phone but hadn't told me. But she said, you know, what if I just allow you to have other women? And I was like, I thought it was an opportunity to talk. I'm like, no, I don't want other women. I want things to work between us. And even as I'm looking back at it, really, bro, it still shouldn't have come to that because I was reacting. You know, we not doing good or whatever. Instead of being accountable to the principles of the marriage, my vows, I was accountable to how I felt. And that was, again, a part of this long pattern of I'll be good so long as I feel good about you and how we doing. But the moment I don't feel good, screw it.
So you tell me a perfect situation for you getting remarried again is a woman that says, I believe a man, because I've had women come to me before. Women have come to me over the last couple of years. And when I've spoken about infidelity in the past, I have women come to me and be like, because it's not normal for a man to be faithful. So let me tell you something, Terrence, if you choose me as your wife, you can go smash women on the side. It don't matter. That don't bother me. As long as you taking care of the household, as long as you don't let that mess come to my doorstep, I'm cool with it. But the reason why I personally can't do that is because I think you're speaking to I know you're speaking to the lowest version of me, that because of my faith and my relationship with Christ, I can't operate like that. But then a lot of times men will say, well, look at the men in the Bible or whatever. I understand that. We're not in that time. You know, I know they had multiple wives. They had all this type of stuff. That's when people argue polyamory and polygamous. But I was like, that's not me. I know, like you're about to say, or what you touched on, what that did to my soul. It grieves my soul. So my question to you is, why couldn't you just do that with your next wife if you decide to get married again?
The variety of vagina never pulled me. It wasn't like it was more so physical. It was emotional. I was soothing whenever I slept around. That I had went basically like this. Okay, so when the times where I was faithful, like I might spend 6 months here, 8 months here, whatever, 3 months. When I was happy, I curved girls that most guys would do anything to get next to. But it was when I was unhappy for an extended amount of time, I would at least open the door to have conversations and start there. And then it would go all the way.
That's an issue. If every time you're unhappy, you feel like you need to go entertain other people, that's an issue. Do you not understand how often you're not going to be completely happy in a marriage? I mean, honestly, if you would have been faithful to your wife, you could have had a fantastic marriage, because most people problems are finances and infidelity. You had the finances together. So if you could have just been faithful to her, y'all could have literally had this life that you wanted. And then from your point of view, you say that oh, she came to you with the option of having other women. And that was like, no, I don't want to have other women. I just want you. I just want you. But you showed her every time that was a lie. And it must hurt for her because she said she wasn't going for that. But in your words, you said that she came to you and she said this. Do you know how degrading that is for a woman to want to be with a man so bad that she's willing? And Danae, I don't think would have ever been comfortable with knowing, like, with like, you know, accepting side chicks or accepting you cheating. It's just like she just ended up in that relationship and she didn't want to lose her husband. She don't want to accept it. She's upset. She's mad about it every time, but she don't want to leave, right? So that's why she did leave every now and then, or whatever the case may be. But I think that is very, very strange that you sit here and you make this seem like you was just so unhappy, like you didn't create the unhappy environment. That's the part that like really baffles me, or sometimes with men, that they complain about that. Well, I want peace, I want peace, I want peace. And it's like, you create chaos. You are the leader of the home. If you're not going to be able to lead and set the tone in a room, it'd be times my husband don't even be saying nothing. He just look like something bothering him. And I'm like, what's wrong? He like, nothing. And I'm like, no, it look like something wrong. And he like, it's nothing wrong with me. And I'm like, it feels like something wrong. And now I found myself feeling like something wrong or something wrong. And I'm like, I don't know why I feel like that. And it don't even be nothing. It's just the fact that when you let someone, when you are the man of the house, you set the tone, you set the environment. So if you bringing nothing but chaos to this woman, and then you got the nerve to wonder why she's not happy, and now you're not happy, now you want to go out and continue the pattern. You keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Y'all could have had a great marriage. Unfortunately, y'all had traumas that y'all never discussed together. Both of them had their own separate traumas, and that's the part that really bothers me about people. We all have trauma. We all have different ways of growing up. We all experience different things in our life. Things affect us different. But when you decide to go into a relationship, yet alone a marriage with someone, these are things that you are supposed to confide in each other, communicate with each other. I get like this because of this. I always I learned how my husband how he loves, right? And it's completely different from me. Completely different from me. At first, I used to take it to heart. And sometimes he talks with a lot of passion, so it seems like he's angry. And I had to be like, stop talking to me like that. Or why are you yelling? He's like, I'm not yelling, or I'm not being mean. And I always would take it like that because I'm just so sensitive. But that's when you have to communicate and you have to learn each other. They never took the time to sit there and learn each other. Stop humping your whole beginning of your relationship. Let's just stop humping the whole beginning of the relationship, because that's how you end up in these relationships where you both are dealing with your own traumas and you have no idea what the other person is going through mentally, emotionally, but somehow y'all end up married with 3 kids. How are we going to stop generational curses? And how are we going to raise up beautiful, healthy children when we're not even dealing with our own traumas alone or with each other? I just realized just now, not now, but like a couple of months ago, that my daughter is more like my husband than me. I'm like, Moochie, I love you. Give me a hug. And she's like, no. Like, it's uncomfortable for her to say, I love you. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to fix that. I got to fix that in her. But you become split images of your parents. And this is like, they should have never gotten married. Because they could have worked through a lot of these things together if they would have just had the conversations about it. Like, have the conversation, talk to each other. Instead of blaming each other, he created this mess. And she continued her way of solving problems by shutting down and not saying nothing. It's just so like, they would never go to make it. Could have.
There. A perfect world for me, man, because I don't mind the same vagina over and over again. When I'm in love, it feel new to me every single time. I was fine physically, and I mean, this is why we stay connected in that way. There wasn't a complaint there,
right?
And I want to be respectful to her as a woman, because she's not my person anymore, and I'm somebody else's wife eventually. But that wasn't my complaint. My complaint was how cold it felt, and honestly, I used to say it. I felt more lonely and single than when I was single. In the relationship, just that rejection, that was just the way that she coped and did her own thing. But that was the part I really wanted. In a perfect world, I didn't feel that. Now, in a realistic world, as a man, I should have had better coping strategies as opposed to coping with women or anything that was going to compromise my vows. I should have been equipped and prepared more to deal with that, or to leave if I was just so unhappy. But I didn't take that responsibility.
How are you reconciling that, being the voice for caring for a woman's heart, but then privately destroying the woman you had at home?
Resentment. That was the denial I needed. It was like, you would do anything and feel like you right in doing it if you feel hurt enough, pissed off enough, disrespected, or taken for granted enough. These are a lot of the things that I was saying to her, like, man, you taking me for granted. And nothing to do with nothing physical or superficial. It was like how much I'm sacrificing for you, But one thing I didn't understand, man, is she wasn't experiencing that. It was like, it's kind of like if you ever been down on yourself, like, man, life is so bad because you got into it with whoever. But then you got to really think like, nah, man, my kids is good. My roof is over my head. I got blood in I'm alive. So it's like, objectively, some things are true, but you're not experiencing it based on what you done focused on. And what I didn't learn until way later was that she never experienced all of these things that was on my mind that I was personalizing that she didn't appreciate. So in a perfect world, man, like, it's just, one woman, that's what I want. And the last couple of years of the marriage, that's what I stuck to, no matter how I felt. And I know and apparently the world feels differently.
I want to believe Derrick Jaxn so bad, y'all, but it really is hard for me to believe someone who was a hypocrite. It's just so like, it's hard to believe someone who knows the book. Like, we all know that Derrick Jaxn knows the book. You know what I mean? Because the self-discovery in itself is like, oh my God, this is great. I'm glad he realized that. I appreciate that. He understands now that, he wasn't showing up the way he was supposed to show up. She didn't experience him the way he thought she was experiencing him. Great. But it's something about the fact that the man was like telling us online, oh, if a man does this to you and a man does that to you, you need to leave him and you need to do this. And this is how you could get the signs of a man cheating on you and blah, 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 blah. It's like he knows the playbook too well to like, for me right now to feel comfortable to be like, I'm proud of you, Derrick. I'm proud. And it's like, even you said he probably scamming though. Like, yeah, like you get excited, like, yes, he understands that. But I never not once believed that Derrick didn't understand what he was doing, because he's a very smart man. Like, this was his job. His job was to pander to women and what women want to hear, and knowing that this is how to penetrate that audience that he already had. Now, I'm not going to say that he can't possibly have changed and learned from his actions and discovered the embarrassment and stuff like that. But a part of me feels like this is a little bit of PR and a little bit of, I already know what to say. Because the only part about this that kind of makes me feel like I can't believe him is that he still hasn't taken full accountability for his actions and his actions alone, without the reasoning of her rejecting him or her shutting him down or her ghosting him or her reacting to what he did. Like, until I hear like him take complete responsibility, I can't believe anything he's saying.
So you saying, right, when you say the last years, we'll get to there. So you get this lady, she does this interview. What did she say in this interview?
I didn't watch that interview either.
How could you not watch a video of somebody talking about you and everybody?
I was broke down, brother. I was at my limit. I had just lost two very important people in my life. I already had jacked up my family and we were trying to get it back together. I got a baby on the way. The finances is tricky because I can't even work consistently. Danae at that time, like, she was still healing a lot. So I had become the primary parent for the elder children. They went to the gym with me. I did get them up and brush their teeth and put them to bed and all these different things, taught them and resolve conflict. And so there's so much pressure on me just as a man. And then throughout that process, because I was the wrongdoer, all of my feelings were obsolete. And now it was okay. Like, screw how you feel.
Yeah.
You hurt her. And so I felt, even more invisible. This goes back to the first counseling session we did, feeling invisible, to childhood. It's like, man, I'm repetitively feeling alone. So as we coming back, and I know they done did, I was like, I can't think straight. We get back, and I know I'm gonna face my audience instead of, being further more cowardly than I already had been. Because no matter what, I want to walk according to what I think is the right thing to do. I faced them that night, but I only talked to what I did in the separation. I didn't tell them I had cheated in the marriage as well. So I was like, again, I want to do this. I want to do this again. And I offered for her to have a voice if she wanted to. Part of our counseling was her having a voice. She wanted more of a voice. She said, yeah. And then that's when we did the video.
In the video, how do you feel about how she represented herself in that video? Well, because you remember, you're the face of this brand. To have her on there where now she's been attacked from the bonnet, which was something very intentional that I was when she came on the podcast. I said, Danae, listen, the last time, I understand how triggering these moments are. I said, so I'm gonna get a makeup artist. I'm gonna get somebody to make sure you look right. I don't want nobody criticizing you on my platform. Why didn't you give her that same level of care to make sure that when she represented herself, she was representing the best light?
I didn't look at her and felt like she needed makeup. I didn't feel like that was the missing piece in her being presentable or beautiful. I still honestly, bro, I don't look at that video of what she had on and see anything wrong. The only thing I can see now from the outside is her body language. And I knew what that was because of.
You didn't see anything wrong with her because I personally feel like you told her, I need you to come into this video with me and support me in this video. Because remind you, he did 2 videos. In the first video, they was eating him up in that video. Then he did a second video with the wife, and I feel like she didn't even have time to go get herself together because you basically bombarded her with this foolishness, sir, while she's pregnant with your child. Now, the first 3 for me, the first 4 months, maybe going into 5, I was down for the count. You couldn't even get me to sit up long enough to have a whole conversation, baby. It was a struggle in the beginning of my pregnancy. So I could imagine how she feels. Like she probably felt like complete crap. And now she got to face the world because you don't know how to keep your peen in your pants. You've been stressing this lady out her whole life, but you keep talking about, so I provide soft life for her. How? He probably was like, I need you to come in this video with me. No, you look fine. You look fine. You look fine. No. It's okay. Come on. Because if you really gave her a choice, you would have had her front line in the very beginning. Like, I'm sorry, but don't know. You knew that video was about to blow up. You knew that was about to get so much traction. And I'm fine with you saying she didn't need no makeup and she didn't need that. So we get all of that. But let's be honest, don't no woman naturally. She was just literally probably over it because she's pregnant. She probably don't feel well. She's, grieving the funeral or whatever the case y'all was going through. So she got her little hat on or her bonnet. And she's like this, I sit here with you. Come on, let's do it. And the only thing you noticed strange about this video was her body language. And I definitely feel like he made her do that video. Definitely.
But people in real life didn't know both of us were shattered. I'm a bit more poised probably in front of the camera, and also I'm more functional. Like even when I'm not okay, I look okay. But she was showing it,
right?
But for different reasons.
She was pregnant at the time.
Pregnant.
No one knew she was pregnant at the time.
She was pregnant, and she was somewhat grieving because she knew of my stepdad as well. So we're both coming from some really heavy stuff on top of her being pregnant, on top of this being a season of attempted reconciliation. And so we show up, and that way I didn't really, again, it didn't stick out to me because this ain't my first time seeing her. Just, again, I think she's beautiful. And I appreciate what you did and making sure that she was protected. But I know afterwards, when we thought about doing some more conversations, I was like, oh, let's get PR. So our body language ain't the same because I don't want them to talk about you. We did a podcast for a little bit and I was like, I don't want them to talk about you. And I started looking at it from.
So now he was about to groom her into doing podcasts with him so that he could keep the subscribers and the money and stuff that he was making, because now his wife is going to stand beside him and they're going to grow and heal together. And now we're going to teach y'all how to get over infidelity in your relationship. Not one time, but the whole relationship. Because he wasn't completely honest about the fact that he was cheating in his marriage. He sat there on that screen and made it seem as if he was just cheating, like he was cheating during their off time and just got caught up in it. Like, oh, we wasn't really together. We was taking a break and we just got caught up. No, sir. You was cheating in your marriage. So now you want to put her front and center when you had her for all these months, to the fact that you don't even realize that she's not camera ready. And I'm not saying she got to be dolled up, but everybody know that when you want to be on camera, that you want to look decent. Even if that means put your hair back into a ponytail, put on a nice earring and some lip gloss or whatever decent looks like to you. But you want to look decent. She didn't look like she looked like she was stressed the hell out. Like she was trying to take her nap because she growing a human and you woke her up with the bullish. And then you got the nerve to say, I was telling her we got to get PR in there because I didn't want them to talk about her.
Their lens, but at the time, man, I don't think she was thinking about herself. And me, I think I was so selfish in my own feelings. I wasn't thinking about her either.
How did you feel when the video dropped and people kept talking about her bonnet and they kept saying, I see why he cheated on her. I see why. And they started making the quote unquote victim. That's all we knew. We didn't know about what she was doing to you in the relationship. So now she's this victim and now they're victim blaming. She's the reason why her man is unhappy. She's the reason why he's unfaithful because look at how she presents herself. Of course, he's going to want one of these baddies that you see on Instagram. How did you feel seeing that?
First, I don't even know where to start. I put her in that position. So as much as I was looking at it and not liking this and that, I was like, my decisions. It's another reminder that my decisions put her in this place. Secondly, I think I just felt helpless because typically I'm the one that like stands for people who get crucified wrongly, and especially women, but really anybody. I've stood for men too, but like here, I'm obsolete because I'm the one that caused it. Thirdly, there is no connection to a woman's looks and a man's integrity. One way or the other. She can't look good enough to make me a no man faithful.
Teach.
And she can't look bad enough to make us step out.
Teach.
So just in terms of what they were saying, I was like, that's bullshit. Like the most beautiful by society standards women have
Still
gotten cheated on.
Yep.
Because it's not about her looks or her makeup. It's about my character.
Thank you.
Or lack thereof. So again, it sucked not being able to say that and stand for that. And I was appreciative of those who did because they were doing what I couldn't do. And so it was really like, I mean, the shame that was already there, the guilt and all this other stuff. And then you add in the ripple effect of now family is getting involved. Her mother is, I mean, you talking about might as well moved in. It was so much that went on. I just like totally now I'm obsolete and I'm moving myself and I'm fine with that because I need to make sure she's okay to healthily carry this baby. Because she's pregnant still. We still got to go to these doctor's appointments. Yep. She still got to keep an appetite. Me, I've been in the middle of scrutiny and I was fine with that. Like, man, talk about me. One, I deserve it. Two, I'm kind of used to it. But
I'm used to it on that level though.
Even on that
level, because people love Derrick Jaxn. It's a lot of men that didn't like you, but women love you. Look at your social media following. I mean, when did you ever have 1 million people following you? That's a lot of people that even when the video came out, people still, I would hear people say, I don't care what he did to his wife. I still find value in what he's saying because he helped me through this and he helped me through this and his video helped me get out this toxic relationship. So no matter how much the world crashed down on you by that, you still had, and I'll still say the overwhelming majority of people are women that still was advocating for you.
I feel a little differently, man. I think not only advocating for me, I think they were advocating for what I stood for and that it didn't just wash that away. What I've gotten from them anyway, because I had people that turned on me and I totally understand. But the people that in real life or even online, they were like, that doesn't take away from your truth. But for me, again, I had rumors go viral about me before. People just don't remember because I wasn't as big, but I've seen tens of thousands of people unfollow me before because they thought the nail was white and I didn't date black women. So I already kind of knew, but I also think I just was too numb to that. Now, this is the first time that scrutiny is coming to somebody I love, somebody close to me, because of me.
Right.
So that was my whole attention went to this is a new experience for me in that regard. That she's not built like that.
Right.
You know, she ain't used to this and she wasn't supposed to ever have to get used to it. So what was going on in my mind is just the lowest feeling you could probably imagine. Even with trying to tune out social media and everything else, her coworkers, her mama, her whatever, had to see her relive this trauma. And people making talking points because people kind of forget we both human.
Yeah.
You know, and they could forget I'm human, but I'm like this girl that y'all go from protect black women to, ooh, look at her bonnet.
That point.
And music videos and stuff like, I mean, it's so insensitive. I'm wishing I could say something, but I'm still the cause of it all. So it's guilt, shame, helplessness, fury, anger. Some people that I thought were at least somewhat friends making jokes about it. And it gave me a perspective, man, that like on some level, my platform had probably done the same thing. You know, when I talked about people and, you know, especially holding them accountable, I always thought I did it with a level of ethics. And, you know, I'm trying to at least be constructive here. But ultimately, I was making a lot of people's wives relive their own trauma. And if anybody's listening, you know, I was wrong for that. I want whoever I've ever talked about to understand that that was wrong of me. But that gave me a perspective I never had before, because I saw her trying to shut it out, but her phone blowing up.
Yeah.
You know, friends and stuff is concerned. Is she okay? And understandably, but it was overwhelming.
When you look at what made you record the video?
Y'all, I'm low key getting a little emotional. I don't know. I'm trying to keep it together. But and not from what he said, but like I'm just thinking about Danae, and I'm thinking about being pregnant, and your husband is literally a piece of shit. And every time you've been pregnant, he has been an asshole to you completely. Like the first time she was pregnant, they wasn't together. And, you know, that's when she didn't want to be with him and blah, 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 blah. The second time they was pregnant, he was cheating on her right before they got married. She couldn't even really enjoy her wedding. The third time she's pregnant, she got to sit on the camera with you and explain to the world how she's going to stick beside her husband. Like, I genuinely feel so sad for her. Like, I could not imagine having to deal with that during my pregnancies. Ever. Like, the emotional toll that I get just when I feel like I'm annoying my husband or he's annoyed with me already puts me in a place where I'm like, but it's not my fault, you know? And so just the fact of like knowing that she had to deal with all those emotions. And then you put her in a position where now everybody can attack her. The internet, the public has no chill. And you did that to her. You introduced her to the world at her most fragile state in the worst way possible. That's the part that, like, the worst way possible in her most fragile state of emotions. Like, she can't even process everything is so heightened in her at that moment. Emotions, hormones, and everything. And you're literally just keep triggering her every chance you get. You deserve to feel every piece of guilt and shame that you got.
Yo, I know you said some of your followers sent the video to you about analyzing yourself, which I thought that was, when you look at that and you hear somebody talking in third person about themselves, they consider that textbook narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
What in the world would possess you to do a reaction video to yourself?
Horrible decision making.
I was like, why would you do that?
Horrible thought process. So for me, whatever I'm going through, my MO has been to just work through it, get up and go do something. But at that point, I'm the biggest conversation. And I was like, this is not something I stand by. But I was like, how am I going to talk about everybody else, but I don't want to talk about me? Dumbest decision. Because out of 800 videos, the one that I do in third person is the one that confirms I'm a narcissist.
You're a textbook narcissist.
Textbook narcissist is third person. And we all have a PhD in narcissism from Instagram.
Yeah,
yes, he did a reaction video, and I actually have a reaction video to his reaction video that I posted at that time. So if you put in Chloe Jackson, Derrick Jaxn, Chloe Johnson, Derrick Jaxn, it'll pop up. It should pop up because I did a reaction video to his reaction video. It was trash. Like, child. But that's another conversation. But let's go ahead and finish.
We all got it from Instagram, YouTube.
So I was like, well, that didn't go as planned. And I took it
then
down.
On top of that, Derrick, at the very end, what do? Promote A
I
product,
probably did. I probably did.
He was like, and I have this book that I had come. I said, this N-word.
Right. The show
That's
must
exactly
go
what I
on.
said. This N-word just sat there and did. What is wrong with this
The
dude?
most detached, not reading the room moment probably in my life. Mm-hmm.
And so what kind of pushback did you get from that?
Recording on Zoom is so pandemic. That's why I use Riverside.
Just the same. It was for me, and again, it's not trying to be arrogant. It's just like for whatever's coming my way, I know how to, for the most part, block it out. My whole career has been about, being able to ignore naysayers. This time it was legit though. It was something I really did. I really disappointed people that believed in me. But regardless, so much was going on in my life. I couldn't access how I felt about that.
Yeah. And then you're also still processing the loss of your the father that you knew. That's your father. Call him stepfather, whatever, but he's been there all the time. That's
the only father that I knew.
Yep.
And my family's still processing it. My cousin got shot in the head about a month or two after that. It was like in I was saying about 3 months, we had 4 deaths in the family. My uncle had died while I was at my auntie's funeral. I know it sounds like this don't even make no sense. While we was at her funeral, my uncle had died. Now, we ain't really like him that much. So, my mama gonna, I'm sorry, but I ain't like him that much. So that one was a little less impactful, just knowing that you supporting your family who cared about him.
Yeah.
But the other 3 were really tough. But it's like, man, I can't be a victim and my children need me. I can't fold. I put everybody in this situation and I wanted to fold. I had the gun on my lap. I wanted to fold. I wanted to be out.
You contemplated suicide?
I was on my way to pulling that trigger. But Marley came out. They were getting ready to go somewhere. Marley saw my tail lights on and said, "Ooh, Daddy's here, Daddy's here." Because I was out of the house for a while, and she came and jumped up on the door right at that moment.
Are you in a car?
Yeah, I was in my truck. I was just doing it in my truck.
In the driveway? In the garage or something?
No, it was in the driveway, in a little cul-de-sac. So after that, I was, kind of scared about how close I got to it. I'm like, I'm not telling nobody because of the shame of I did this and whatever, and I don't have no voice because I'm the bad guy. I'm the big bad wolf in everybody's eyes now. The resentment in the house is tenfold. I can't say enough about it. But one thing we had talked about was that I don't typically let nobody into my internal struggle, and I needed to do that. So I talked to Danae about it. Now, we not in a good place here again. And I talked to her about it, and she kind of stonewalled a little bit, just didn't have much to say. But that's when a little bit after that, I decided I couldn't do the marriage anymore. This was in 2021 because she was laughing about it with her mom.
That she was going to commit suicide?
She was laughing about it with her mom. I got wind of the conversation. This was after some texts I saw. She was still talking to her mom about the marriage, which wasn't, who can't forgive after all the forgiveness I needed, But this one where I was like, not that she's so bad, in this moment, but it just made it clear how far away from me her heart has turned.
Did you divorce her? Did you say you wanted a divorce by text?
Yeah. At that time, and anytime we tried to talk, especially if it involved her mama, she either ended up yelling or she stonewalled, like blank face until I got done talking and had nothing to say. During the therapy, she witnessed that about her mom yelling at a man, whatever. I never did, but I didn't do well with no yelling. So I knew this was to do with her mom, and I told her, hey, not only do I can't do this anymore, but this unresolved issue with your mom is a reason why. I don't know if she mentioned that or not, but a lot of people don't know. It had nothing to do with infidelity as far as why I decided I needed to leave. It was because we had talked about restoring the marriage, but we, pastors, counselors, over and over again, be catching that she had talked to her mom or brought her mom into the marriage, and her mama was very intent on staying in the marriage, giving play-by-plays of how to disrespect me, or whatever. At this point,
So you literally went with this girl, gave her 3 babies, embarrassed her on national TV, did all these things, other things, and because she giggled a little bit on the phone with her mama about you saying that you were having unaliving thoughts and whatnot, that now you ready for a divorce. Now you're ready for the divorce. After you put her through everything that you just said here and told us you put her through, she told us you put her through, and you want the divorce? Let this be a prime example, ladies. It never pays. It never pays for him, because now his feelings are hurt, and he's like, I want a divorce, as if he hasn't dragged this woman through the whole entire mud. Oh, now you just now realizing she's emotionally detached from you when you haven't even been in a relationship with her the whole time? How was she supposed to be emotionally attached? Child, that's crazy.
It was like, I already checked out. I've been in the guest room over a year. But if we're going to give this a chance, you got to just set the boundary with your mom. You know, I ain't going to put words in your mouth. So I told her, but just let her know you love her and you appreciate her support, but you're committing to this and you need her love to look different. And she kept saying, well, I'll get to it, or not yet, and I'm not ready. And over a year of that, I was like, I got to go.
Our dad is getting older and he needs help with cooking, his daily appointments, and
upstairs and she was downstairs on the couch.
Yep.
And at that point, that was in what year? 2021?
This is 2022 now. I
So
skipped the whole lot, but
yeah.
2022 now.
2022, you send that. When you said, hey, I'm about to divorce said woman, divorce your wife, how soon did you start entertaining the woman that we see you boot up with on social media?
Boot up.
Yeah.
Pinky.
What's her name? Okay.
I didn't know Pinky until about 2 months after.
2 months after?
Yeah, I didn't entertain anybody. Until I had filed and moved out, I didn't entertain a single woman. I know people think that I did because they saw the picture simultaneously with my announcement
when they found
to be
the announcement.
out. But because, again, I'm private, I didn't want to even announce the divorce. I didn't see any use in it. I'm like, why bring people in after all it's already been caused? But then when I went down to Miami, I had been moved out now, and she had already did the video praying against folks, you know, that kind of thing. I was like, I've been in, so this is me and my experience, not saying she was bad or whatever, but for me, that was a living hell. Being rejected to that degree, being reminded of all the wrong I've done to that degree. Over a year in the guest room. But even though I did a lot of healing in that time, it was tough to feel so disgusting to a person that you still care about. And so whenever I got out of the house, I was like, I need to be surrounded by friends, family, and love. So other friends and family down there in Miami, but the young lady was going to be there as well. And yeah, man, we just enjoyed Art Basel, and that's what people taking pictures. And honestly, I didn't care because I was like, y'all don't know my life. You know, I don't want to live under the shadow of what people could think, even though looking at it is kind of careless.
Yeah, you like, I'm with a whole woman. At least make an announcement.
At least in the public eye,
yeah,
for sure.
Make an announcement. Me and my wife respect our privacy. We have decided to dissolve our marriage. And then whatever they see you at that point on,
yeah,
it is what it is.
At that point, it was, again, this ain't no excuse, man. I'm just living and learning in real time.
Of course.
There's some grief there with the kids because we also getting ready to go into Christmas, the first one without the children. And then also actually divorcing is still painful. Even if you grew apart, you don't love the person no more romantically.
No matter how you look at it, it's a death.
It's been over a year since I started that detachment, but I still was feeling some of it. But ultimately, I was trying to be rebuilt up. I didn't went around feeling like the world's greatest big bad wolf. I wanted to be around people that loved me and cared about me. And yes, some of that included feminine energy that just at least liked me as a human.
Right.
You know, it's not even about sex. It's like, man, do you even smile whenever you look at me? You know, I've been coming into rolled eyes and, you know, somebody walking, when she hear me coming in, she walk. Understandably, by the way, let me say that.
Right. There's a lot of built-in failure, a lot of mismanagement of our heart, mismanagement of all that.
Yes, y'all, he has a girlfriend, right? So Derrick Jaxn was recently, maybe about a month. I think I might have the screenshot still on my computer. I never made the video like I planned to. But Derrick Jaxn was going back and forth with her on the internet. They was like sending like messages through like stories and stuff. Basically how she was basically saying that she was gonna get her man back. Danae funny as heck because she still want this man. I don't know why. That's her baby daddy, okay? She still want her husband. All right. And y'all know he don't want her. Y'all know he don't want her. So yeah, so she's still going back and forth with the girl. And that's what I mean. Like he was never going to have a hard time finding another girl. That was never going to be the issue. That was never going to be the issue. Aren't they still married? Yeah, I think they still married. I think they just separated or in divorce is filed.
And disappointment, trauma, reiterating the trauma, and so many different things going on. Probably some stuff apart from me that ain't got nothing to do with me as well. So I understand it, but two things can be true. I understand it, and it was effed up. It was messing me up.
No, who want to sit in that? That's why most people get divorced. That's why most people say, I'd rather just start over fresh. I'm going to take these lessons I've learned, and then I'm going to try to do better in the next marriage. But this right here just ain't working.
My mentor told me, though, man, you got that for 5 to 7 years. He was helping coach me through it. I had prepped my mind to be able to endure that. It just was still tough. The reason I actually got a divorce was because I'm like, she's not able to do what needs to be done with her mom. And when she treats me a certain way, there's another person involved that gets treated a certain way because there's another person that is connected to how she feels about it.
That's a puppeteer.
Hold up, because you talking about her mom, her mother who gave her life, who stood beside her when you didn't, yet alone was in your marriage when you done brought a woman in and out every chance you got, sir. And you drew the line at the mother who gave life to her. That don't make no sense to me. Now, I do believe that there need to be boundaries in the relationship. I'm a total believer that there need to be boundaries. But her mother don't feel safe with her child with you. Shoot, Danae don't even feel safe with you. So you want to sit here and you want to put you literally brought women in and out your marriage the whole time, and you got the nerve to say it was the mother for me that made me divorce her. Child, listen. How much more of this video? What else they got to talk about? Because this is too long.
That's pulling the strings.
To a degree. No, not that. There's another person that, okay, I don't know how to say this, but I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. So our eldest daughter, she may have spoken on this, is darker than the other two.
Oh yeah, she said that. She said she didn't used to like that. She said she didn't like that daughter. She had a lot of resentment towards that daughter.
So me, like in the house as an infant, as a toddler, because she's saying it, and I don't think you might not understand like this.
What it looked like in real time.
In real life, these are experiences.
I can imagine what it looked like.
So I could often intervene or kind of settle things out because I know that she loves that girl. I know that she loves her children. But it was affecting their relationship and how she treated her or how harsh she was or how she talked to her.
And I got that from what she's saying. She's saying that when somebody says that they don't like their child because the dark skin of this child reminds them of the type of women that you preferred, then
come back and get credit for the work you've put in.
And I didn't understand it, but again, with Grace, it's just like, even she's saying she's trying to work against it. So, all right, family business, we're going to work through this. But I'm the one that saw the 2-year-old go for affection to their mommy and get turned away while the other two light skin, or the other one light skin at that time, child gets all the love and affection, and the dark skin child to see that. I'm the one that hears our dark skin child say things reflective of how she feels mommy feels about her. Mm-hmm. So as everything was in a stagnation or regressing, it wasn't just me getting pushed away or treated a certain way.
Yeah.
And again, I really hope people just approach this with compassion, because I don't think any of us manage all of our emotions perfectly.
Of course not.
And she's done a ton of sacrificing for every one of those kids. And I just need to say that because she's not a bad mom.
Right.
But I said the longer that I stay in this space, knowing that she's not going to do what I need her to do, and that therefore that stunts her healing, our reconnection, the longer she's getting put through that, the longer the kids are getting modeled, the disconnection, the resentment and tension remaining. I don't know if she was talking to her mom at that point, but without her making that stance and saying, we committed over here, we were not moving forward. So anytime she got triggered, anytime I put whatever, it was two people receiving the brunt of that. And somebody had to draw a line and say no more.
I can respect that. Because what you did is give more context behind what she even admitted. And I believe that what you said, she will never deny. She'll say, yep, that was.
But man, but with all of that.
Did y'all hear Danae say that she didn't like her daughter? I really feel like I need to go back and watch that interview just for that part, because I need to know. I don't remember her saying she didn't like her daughter. I remember her saying that she used to look at her daughter and have some type of resentment. Or not, which I don't even think was resentment. I think she said she used to feel some type of way because she looked more like the woman he used to, sleep with or whatever. But I don't remember her saying she didn't like her daughter. And I feel like this is something that this is one of the topics, this topic in her rape topic, her essay, situation. And even the fact that he told us about another essay situation that she went through, I feel like those are strictly topics that only she should be able to talk to. She said she held resentment towards her. Okay. But for him to sit here and have these conversations to basically insinuate that she treated her daughter like she was a stepchild. And I think that this is like talking about her essay assaults and how she relates to her children. I think we should have just left that to her, because now this is intentionally trying to make it seem like, she was really like mistreating your child. And it's fine if she wants to talk about how she felt about, the relationship and things like that. But I do feel like out of respect for her, certain things shouldn't be said. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
That because one thing I noticed, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, is that sometimes she dealt with shame of feeling like she wasn't perfect. She cried about sometimes how she dealt with our daughter. She had a lot of insecurities as a woman, but also as a mother. And so I hope that she knows that it doesn't take away from her love for the kids, her sacrifices for the kids, the things even now I don't see, because we've been co-parents now almost a year. So there's many things she has to take on now that we maybe used to split that's strictly on her, and including our third child, So for anybody, any mom out there that resents their kids for any reason, there's some people that just mad they became parents.
Yep.
It became such a burden. And there's mothers and fathers that deal with that guilt of knowing they don't feel as happy about something that, the kid is involved, but they can't talk to nobody. And what I'm saying is, it don't take away from that. And her love is still genuine, and she's still a good woman.
When there's nothing holding you back, what would your thing be?
You said that, which goes back to this Mother's Day post that you made.
Mm-hmm.
What made you do that? And I believe that while it's good intentions, for whatever reason, people didn't receive it as such. When you look back, hindsight being 2020, why you believe that wasn't received well?
Well, Shade Room didn't receive it well, and the blogs didn't, but people on my page did. However, I caught wind that she wasn't happy with it. That was my third year post on Mother's Day. For me, and I'm not saying it was the right decision, but the romantic relationship is completely separate from the co-parenting relationship.
True.
So I honored her in real life before Mother's Day about her being a mom. I would send her text to say, thank you for taking on that, especially if the kids went to urgent care or something. Thank you for being the one to take care of that. Thank you for being there, taking off whatever you might be doing for work. So in real life, I honored her. And actually, her mom was there. I brought her flowers. I had the kids pick something up.
The day before, she told me that.
Yeah, that was a regular thing, though. As co-parents, I'm like, we may have, our chapters closed romantically, but we still are teammates when it comes to them.
She said the reason why it was kind of backhanded compliment is because you blocked her on social media. So how can you block somebody but then make a message or an affirmation post without them, quote unquote, seeing it?
So I had to block her because before y'all interview, she was throwing around our picture online. She was in her stories. She had a whole webinar called the Cheating Husband Stories. It was like, when I saw that you had titled it Breaks Her Silence, I was like, broke what? It was already broken because she had been. But for me, I wanted to allow her, if she want to express or tell her story, that I don't deserve a space to speak on what's valid and what's not. And so I was kind of letting her do a thing, but I can only handle so much. If she's doing all of this, people are sending. So I blocked her. Like, I can't handle that. And I don't want to start retaliating or, whatever, speaking as well. So I didn't say anything about her at all outside of Happy Mother's Day. But I honored her in real life. I honored her out loud online the same way I had 2 years prior, because it was separate. And I meant everything I said in there about her being a great mom. But yeah, I had blocked it and I unblocked it because I was trying to tag her, but her settings won't let me tag her. But yeah, that was it. And I took it down when, she's not comfortable with that. Fine.
You couldn't tag her because you don't know how to spell her name. You couldn't tag her because you don't know how to spell her name, Derrick. Okay, I just had to say that. I had to say that.
No big deal.
And she was like, yeah, they were passing in the hallway. Yeah, I was one of the girls. So I like it when people get to the place where they can laugh at some of their dumb decisions and be able to acknowledge what was right, what was wrong, and talk about her own faults in it or whatnot. And so that's what made me say, all right, come on, Dear Future Wifey podcast and have this conversation.
Yeah, she ain't crazy. She's different. And she's like an awkward Black girl.
Yeah.
And then also I hope everybody understands and I had to understand this myself, she's been brought to some limits that, I wouldn't wish
most people would
fold somehow.
Yep.
So there's no blueprint on how to handle this. When she first met me, I was a college football player and I loved to write poetry, but that was it. And now I've become this kind of sort of household name, especially in the Black community. Her friends, family, coworkers, cousins, they posted about me and wanted to do it. Like,
who watched this already? Is this the end? Is this basically the end? Because I don't want to hear him brag about himself for the next couple of minutes. Can we fire the host? She not crazy. She different. I don't know. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me if this is like the end or if it's more that we need to watch. Because I didn't watch it, so I don't know. This is wild. Like this is a weird interview. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not gonna lie. But it's something about Derrick Jaxn that I just can't. And I just just admit that she was a trash husband. We didn't watch this. Nobody watched it. Watch a little bit more. Okay. AW said watch a little bit more. So we're gonna watch a little bit more because most of us didn't watch it.
Like, she's gotten kind of thrust into something I don't know if either of us knew was going to happen.
Right.
Nor did I think she really would have signed up for. So no, there's no blueprint in how she's handling everything. There are certain things she's done I still think is kind of crazy. I mean, just keeping it G with you. Whenever she said God took over her body and told the demon in me that I was going to die and go broke, I was like, that is bizarre. I'm not safe here. But the girl ain't crazy.
What do you think about when she made the post that you was talking about people who speak negative about you, that God was going to kill their kids and everything else?
I was confused because she wouldn't talk to me still. So
Because she was acting like y'all was Team Jackson.
We was not Team Jackson. And I was like, huh? Like, because anytime trying to just have a cordial conversation, she wasn't interested. I was like, okay, well, this is her boundary. Now that I've, moved out the house or whatever. But then when I saw that, I was like, you would think we were still married and she got my back or whatever. And how I've kind of made sense of it now is maybe it was just kind of a little bit of both. Maybe it is, I don't rock with you or whatever, but maybe she was treating it as because we're legally still married, or maybe she had some hope or something like that. She's not going to just cover me in prayer. She's going to cover herself in prayer, but me as well. And that's warfare prayer, man. Like, I understood it. And that's light compared to what I've gotten in real life. That was PG. That was safe. That was Barney.
Well, it offended a whole lot of people because he was talking about killing their kids and God's going to do it. So I said, I know God loves you. What I looked at it when I saw it, I was like, I know God loves you, Danae, and God loves Derrick, and y'all all his kids. But I promise you, if he didn't just start killing people for killing his own son, he sure ain't going to kill him for talking bad about you and Derrick.
But she learning, man. She, you want a war in the spirit.
Yeah.
You want to speak against those things that are trying to operate against God's plan for your life. But I think that, like, she's just still sharpening that. But
right.
she meant well. That's all.
And so y'all still going through a divorce now? Is the divorce final?
No, we moving it along as fast as we can, but it's still a process. And no, so legally we are still married.
And do you desire to get married again?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because I don't think your past has to dictate your future. I don't think just because you failed at something, maybe you were the one that sabotaged and jacked it up like me, or maybe you just you got done wrong and, you endured it. But I don't think we have to look at how things went in the past at any point and say, never again will we ever have a chance. I still value marriage. I still value family. I understand some things now I didn't before. Not only understand, I prepared differently, and I'm preparing going into it again. But when the time comes, I ain't in no hurry.
Right.
But I want to make sure when God aligns my person, she gets the best of me. And, we don't repeat the same issues as the past.
When you, do you look at yourself as being single now, even though you're legally married?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you move like a single man?
To a large degree. I'm moving like a single man who's focused on his children and his healing and personal growth. So, I may spend time with people I wouldn't normally spend if I was in a marriage, but I'm not developing anything towards nothing. I got my focus really on my kids because, like, again, we've been co-parents for the last almost year, and it's them who didn't choose to be a part of any of this.
Anything you want to leave the audience with? What would you like to say? What's on the heart of Derrick Jaxn?
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best.
In fact, I don't even want you speaking to the women. I want you to speak to the brothers that may be in the same situation as you've been in, feel like, they've tried, they've mismanaged their marriage, cheated, whatever. What would
he can't say that he's in a relationship with the girl because he's technically still married. So it'd have been like, he can't really just say that. So he got to say, yeah, I'm moving like a single man. You may see me with some people because I'm not, that I probably wouldn't be with. But this, like, what was the purpose of this? Are we out here trying to get the girls to flood Derrick Jaxn's DMs now because he's a single man? And, now he's focused on these kids. But when you was married, why you wasn't focused on the kids? You already said you didn't want the responsibility of the kids, sir. I don't know. I can't. Now listen, now we about to hear him give his speech to the men like him of the world. But this is what he good at.
Would you say to those brothers that, as they always say, well, he can't tell me nothing when we've been in them shoes before?
First off, you're not alone. You're not alone in how you cope. You're not alone in what you struggle in. You're not alone in that guilt and shame. You're not alone in feeling unheard and unseen and like you don't matter. You're not alone in feeling like, you're just about being a good behavior and everybody wants you to do right. And don't nobody care if you're okay. You're not alone in feeling like, your woman can use her intuition to see if you're cheating, but she ain't using that same intuition to see if you're at peace and if you're happy. There are other men who feel the same way. I felt the same way. And let me also say, it's not always somebody else's.
they not alone. If they feel like they girl, oh wait, I gotta rewind it. Y'all, sorry. I gotta rewind it.
Like, you're just about being a good behavior and everybody wants you to do right. Don't nobody care if you're okay. You're not alone in feeling like, your woman can use her intuition to see if you're cheating, but she ain't using that same intuition to see if you're at peace and if you're happy. There are other men who feel the same way. I felt the same way.
I can't do no more. I can't because I ain't just gonna go out and say that. Yo, did he really just tell these men that they not alone if the woman can use their intuition to know if they cheating but can't find out if they in peace? They can't use their intuition to find out if women, oh my God. Y'all, I did not expect that tonight. Hold up, because he's dead ass serious. That man said you are not alone if she can use her intuition to find out that you was cheating on her, but can't use her intuition to find out if you at peace. She ain't at peace because you cheating on her. Ooh, child, I'm gonna let him finish because I gotta hear the rest of this. Ooh, child, that took me out.
And let me also say, it's not always somebody else's fault. I don't even believe in relationship problems as much as I used to. I believe we have internal problems that we bring into a relationship. So for everything that you're feeling, even though you're not alone, your wife, your girl, she ain't the enemy either. She ain't the cause either. And if you're like me and you're reactive, you're apart from your masculine role. We're supposed to be the standard. Femininity is supposed to be the responsive agent. So what that means is instead of getting in a relationship thinking like me, I'm speaking from where I feel like I really dropped the ball. So hopefully you don't. Instead of feeling like, well, as long as she do me right and pour into my cup and so on and so forth, I'm going to do right. That's a recipe for disaster, man. Of course, you don't want to do a good woman wrong, but it should be about you being a good man to your standards, your principles, regardless of that woman's behavior. And if she's not good enough to do right by, probably best to go ahead and let her go. That's not me preaching. That's me hopefully trying to reach somebody, who still has a family, and you have the opportunity to keep that intact, or you have the opportunity to keep it from suffering such humiliation and such damage before, it eventually fizzles out. And honestly, I will speak to women as well as men. No matter what decisions you've made, if you've been the villain like me or the victim like I have at times as well, don't let that define your ambition going forward. You may have messed up, but you have value to offer this world, and you got value to offer somebody in love. So maybe you was a part of a pattern like me and you stepped out, and that's the big sin, but maybe you had a pattern of sabotage. Maybe you had a pattern of overreach.
Hold up, but you hear how he talks to the women? Now it's the women who probably stepped out. No, sir, stay on track. Stay on track. This speech to the women don't sound like your speech to the men. I'm just saying.
Reacting, never trusting, closing down, whatever your pattern is, it doesn't have to be your future. And that's for any woman that done chose the wrong man over and over again, endured the wrong thing over and over again, or any man that's endured the wrong thing over and over again, or chose wrong, etc. That's all.
Derrick, some giftings are given without repentance. Boy, I'm telling you got a gift for this thing. You really do. You have a gift, and I'm just listening to you. And the reason why, and I text you when I did the episode with Danae, and I said, hey, listen, this episode is going to drop. I'm going to keep you lifted up in prayer. Because the thing that, I'm trying not to get emotional. The worst thing that I want to be is the catalyst that sends another person, a brother, a human being over the edge. And so I'm sensitive to the giftings, the platform that God has given me. And so I'm sensitive to the fact that even though this brother, because the thing about it, and I'll level with you, if I had a platform when I was at my worst point, when I was married.
I don't eat my eggs, and here's what happened. Did you know that you can help those struggle with it?
Like people looked at you. It just so happened that I didn't have the platform when I was cheating on my wife. Now, of course, I could say, well, I wasn't also over here giving relationship advice or whatever. But I'm saying if my worst day was televised, how would people look at me? If our worst day is publicized, how would people look at said individual? And so I offer people the same grace that I know that God extends to me. And so I text you that day and I said, listen, brother, I want you to get your healing. I want your family to be healed. I want your family to be restored. And I want you to know that I'm praying for you and I love you. Because at the end of the day, you still my doggone brother, no matter what. And then when I found out that you're a brother in Christ, you really my brother. And so what I say to you, King, is that I'm standing 10 toes down. I want to see your family healed, restored. I want to see y'all have the best co-parenting relationship ever. I want y'all to be able to go to lunch together and dinner together. And people are like, are they back together? Like, no, it's what healthy looks like.
Yeah.
This is what healthy looks like.
Yeah.
And instead of passing on generational curses, I want us to pass on generational healing. So I want that for you and Danae. I pray that God continues to heal those beautiful kings and queens that y'all raising up so that they could see a healthy relationship, see what healthy co-parenting looks like.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want for y'all. That's what I'm praying for y'all. Matter of fact, I'll just end in prayer. Heavenly Father, I lift up the Jaxns before you right now in the name of Jesus. Lord, I thank you for my brother coming on this platform and bearing his heart, bearing his soul, showing up 10 toes.
I'm not even about to indulge in that prayer. I'm gonna let that prayer go. I'm gonna let them have it. Okay. They can, but this is wild. This is wild, y'all. That was wild. Derrick Jaxn is made to do exactly what he just did. There's no way you could tell me that this man did not play in our face this whole time, because the ending of this let me know it was the ending for me. The ending of his wrap-up speech to the man and to the woman really just let me know that he just played in our face, y'all. I was sitting here, debating, like, I can understand. He probably did understand. He probably did grow up just a little bit. He probably do get it. No, immediately no, because that was some that was I think the wrap-up words to the end of this ruined everything he said before. Everything he possibly said that had people leaning like, okay, he's grown up. Maybe he was young when he got married. Any those little pieces that people probably was thinking. I mean, that last speech for me was like icing on the cake, because it was too directly to the camera. Okay. And then he had the nerve to like try to like it was a lie. it was a lie. It was a lie. And I was starting to think that the host, he's toxic. He's toxic. Now, I don't know his whole story, but I know he used to cheat on his wife too. But baby, oh Lord, it's toxic over here. They need a reality TV show on. Child, I don't know. Because Derrick Jaxn told us that you are not alone. If you feel like a woman can use her intuition, okay, to find out if you cheating, but can't use her intuition to find out if you happy or at peace. That took the cake for me. I am completely done. Y'all, I don't know. That's it. That's all. We already been up here for 2 hours and 30 minutes. I don't want to drag it. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me again tonight for, I guess Derrick Jaxn telling his side of why he decided to cheat on his wife his whole marriage and then divorce her. Okay. I hope you guys enjoy this. Please, like the video. If this is your first time catching live, please subscribe to the channel. Whew. I hope you didn't feel bad for him because you was there. Oh no, Tracy. Y'all know I almost fall into those little, I'm almost got half the time with these men. But I stood my ground. Okay. Okay, I'm glad we did finish watching this, because if we didn't finish watching, we would have all walked away like, okay. Okay, but let me say this real quick. The Ultimatum is coming back next week on Netflix. It's dropping all 8 episodes at one day. So I'm going to try to do episodes 1 and 2, 2 and 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Together, like in twos, and drop 2 sets the day it come out and then the next day. So Wednesday, I think it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 out, but in 2 separate videos, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in 2 separate videos the next day to try to get that out there before they drop the reunion and stuff like that. And then the show that I just started watching on MTV is called, what's the name of the show? The Love Experiment. It's like dating app brought to life. It's really, really good. Y'all should go check it out. So when I do the review, y'all can come watch it with me, okay? And then of course we'll be back for Ready to Love and all the things when it comes to Ready to Love, y'all, because y'all know that already got us in a chokehold. But all that being said, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for these 2 hours and 30 minutes, y'all. We did another 2-hour show. Y'all know I don't like to be that long. Okay, he definitely destroyed her. And I'm gonna talk to you guys tomorrow. I might do an early morning live tomorrow just to come up here and just talk to y'all about probably hot topics or the blogs or whatever y'all want to talk about. I don't know, but we'll see how it turns out. But other than that, I appreciate you all so much. I gotta go lay down because I've been sitting up too much, and yeah, I've started getting uncomfortable. All right, y'all. Peace.